Two old guys put on a show.
They did. They really did. I don't know if you agree with, and I love Vlad. He would get one high. He celebrates as well as anybody in the game. But none of these pitchers command the inside of the plate. It's like, come on. Give me a little old school baseball. I know that makes me sound old. I'd plunk his ass. I would flat out plunk his ass.
If it was
I done it last night.
If it was in reverse, Max Scherzer would hit him.
There's no doubt.
Yeah, Scherzer
He
would.
told the manager to get the F off the mound. I'm finishing the inning. How many pitchers do that anymore?
Yep.
There's no doubt. Yeah, division was on the line last night. We only told you what Tomlin's number was against the division on the road for a week. Once in a while. It's a good rule, Ryan.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floormeister Studios. Floormeisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you on this Football Friday.
Football Friday.
How the heck are you, Miller and Moulton? MillerandMoulton.com. Miller_Moulton on X. Mark, we were all over that Thursday night football game, weren't we?
We really were. We really were. Gave you the numbers, the history, and the trends regarding Tomlin and the Steelers on the road on Thursday nights in the division. They are now 0-9. Tomlin is 0-7. He is 1-8 all time on the road on Thursday nights.
We both like the Bengals and the points. I went so far as to pick them straight up. We were all over a desperate season on the line. Zach Taylor's Cincinnati regime on the line. Thursday night in one of the two Queen cities in the U.S.
Told you that one of those D-backs for Pittsburgh's a little handsy.
Yep.
How are they going to call it? Well, he got flagged a couple times last night to let drives continue.
And a big one at the end of the first half, put the Bengals in field goal range, gave them 3 points. Pretty big 3 points at the end of the day.
Right after Pittsburgh has a pre-snap penalty on a fourth down that changed the way a drive was going to go. They might be able to get that in for 6. Certainly are going to chew up a little more clock.
So a good Thursday nighter to wet your whistle into what is a really, really solid college Saturday.
It is.
The third Saturday in October is going to be special, not just in Tuscaloosa. And it is nice that the Vols and the Tide are playing on the third Saturday in October. Let's try to keep as much tradition as we can left in the NFL 2.0.
So the icy hot bowl delivers last night. Joe Flacco looked great.
Wow.
Boy, does the Pittsburgh defense stink.
Wow. Man, oh man. He tore him up.
He did. And they ran it down their throat in the first half. I mean, they did really offensively whatever they wanted against Pittsburgh last night.
Whew.
And you brought it up. You were 100% right in your assessment. He gets rid of the ball quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And when you get rid of the ball quickly, you don't get pressured. Watt was never there. Though I think they had one sack the whole game.
He knows where he's going with the ball, and this just did. Those receivers get open quickly.
Yes, they do.
I mean, you could argue that they've spent too much at one position, but you can't argue that they're really, really good at it.
Yep. And because of the attention that the Steelers were paying to those receivers, there were gaping holes open for Brown running the ball. I know he had over 100 yards for the game, way over that, but he had damn near 100 yards in the first half with some big, big runs. Pittsburgh built an early lead, watched it slip away, and then came back late, taking the lead with under 2 minutes to go. And I will say the one thing about the NFL is just how much smarter the players on a whole are. You know, there's a touchdown run coming on a catch and throw, and no, we go down. No, we're not giving you the ball. The only way you can win is if we give you the ball back. So we're not going to do that. I mean, those are things you would have never seen 8-10 years ago. Ever.
But the Steelers found their tight ends last night.
They did. They did. And but the Steelers had miscues, and that allowed Cincinnati to get back in it. Aaron with a terrible interception thrown into double coverage at one point. A couple of miscues with penalties, and the Bengals took advantage. God, I hate those Bengals uniforms.
Oh, awful.
It's awful.
Horrendous. Absolutely horrendous. Don't know how you look at
you want to say that's old guy not liking it. Some of the new unis I like.
I didn't know who they were. I'm like, wait, are the Bills playing again? Because didn't they just wear these uniforms the other day? Man.
And even though both of these old guys are rooting for the team that lost last night, it was nice to see a starting pitcher tell a manager what he thought about coming out of the game.
You're not taking me out. What are you even doing here? Get back in the dugout. Leave me alone. I've thrown thousands of innings in this league. You don't think I can get this guy out? Please. Go back in the dugout. Watch a good game.
And we have now a good series as the road team keeps winning in the American League and the Dodgers keep winning in the National League.
Oh, my goodness. A home team is allowed to win in the LCS. Who knew that? This just in. The Milwaukee Brewers offense has gone away. It's a really bad time for your offense to go away.
It is. It's a very bad time. And they're a team that is, not completely, but as small ball as it gets in 2025 baseball. They're a team that gets guys on base. They run. They try to put the defense in a position where they would make mistakes and put pressure on a defense. And they're just not getting on base, period. And when that's how you score runs, you actually manufacture runs still in 2025. Everything's not about a 3-run home run. Well, when you're not getting guys on base, it changes everything. And the Dodgers pitching has been fantastic.
But do you know how many teams in the regular season scored more runs than the Milwaukee Brewers? 2.
Yeah.
Yankees and Dodgers. That's it. So yes, there's no doubt about it, Mark. They're a put the ball in play. They don't hit nearly the home runs that everybody else hits, but they put a lot of pressure on you. Yeah, not in the last week and a half they have.
Nope. Not at all.
Nope. And they are 1-5 in their last 6, as their offense is averaging less than 2 runs a game over that span. And heck, it's been pretty consistent here in the LCS. 1-1-1. Really tough to win that way.
It is.
In fact, we're not the smartest guys in the world, but it seems as if there's only one way you can win, by scoring 1 run a game.
So the Dodgers a game away from returning to the World Series. Seattle and Toronto. Boy, Toronto with those road blues, it looked like it was expansion baseball. And I don't mean that in a bad way. That looked like a throwback for the Blue Jays last night.
And I woke up to a text this morning from Mark Miller that said, listen, I love a good strut. I love a good celebration. But man, is Vladdy Jr. strutting out there. And it would be really difficult if I was on the opposing team for him to not eat one in the ear hole.
Hit him. And I love Vlad. I love him. Love everything about the strutting. Trust me, I do. You know, 2 things can be right sometimes. 1, I love the strut. 2, if I'm a Seattle Mariners pitcher, I'm throwing at him. He's getting one high and inside early. I'm moving him off the damn plate.
There's no doubt in my mind that if Max Scherzer pitched for the Mariners, that somebody on Seattle would have eaten one.
You got it.
Or, excuse me, on Toronto would have eaten one last night. Even if it's just on the hip. Boom. Doesn't have to get dangerous. Okay? And Scherzer's a veteran. He knows how to hit you. He knows where to hit you. And he can still throw hard enough where it bothers you.
Not to mention Vlad's hitting nearly 500 in the postseason.
Yes,
move the man off the plate.
Right? At least make him get up off the ground one time.
Yeah.
I mean, my goodness.
A little chin music, please. What the hell? And I know this is old guy talking. It's old guy baseball. I get it. I know they don't play that way. We can't play that way anymore. This is the damn playoffs. Yeah, you can.
So a team desperate last night, their season on the line, and they respond. And 2 playoff series that look very different. And we haven't even gotten to probably the big news of the day.
Somebody got a bag. A bag.
I told you he wasn't going anywhere.
Well, you weren't predicting he was getting that.
I didn't think he'd get it within 4 days. I have to admit, didn't think he'd get it before Friday.
I mean, the chain reaction in short order in college football. James Franklin gets fired. It takes 2 days for rumors to surface in Gainesville that Napier's not going to make the weekend. Why? Say what you want, but it's because James Franklin got fired and Florida didn't want to get too far behind the coaching search. Who's the one guy mentioned for both jobs? Kurt Signetti. And he got paid. I hope it works out great for Indiana. You know that I do, David. I hope that this is a great 8-year run with Signetti. I do. Would be great for college football to see a team that has never, ever had success in the sport have a decade run of success like they've never seen.
Mark, I could argue that he's already earned that contract by what he's done in a year and a half. I mean, they're going to go to the playoff again. He's going to take Indiana to back-to-back playoff appearances. I mean, I could argue he's already earned that money. That the windfall for Indiana University as a university, never mind as an athletic department. But I just love the fact that 2 years ago he was making 677,000 at James Madison, and he's now making 11.6. Hello. Oh, yeah, that's America right there, baby.
Miller and Moulton. We'll break down a big college football weekend starting 25 minutes away. Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
When Glass Doctor replaces your windshield, we don't just send you on your way, we send you off protected. Your local Glass Doctor includes the industry's only 12-month windshield protection plan at no extra cost. That means unlimited chip repairs and even a one-time replacement if needed. High-quality service backed by real peace of mind, right here in your neighborhood.
Glass Doctor, Glass Doctor. Call the Glass Doctor, we fix your pains. Oh, yeah.
Exclusions apply. See your local Glass Doctor for details.
This is Miller and Moulton.
I think Michael and Puck are going back to their respective corners. You guys got pretty fired up for the first segment of the show.
Whatever. I can't deal with the pettiness in there sometimes. You guys do your thing. Yes, YouTube user, open the show with that exact thing. I've told people all week that stat. We do know, but thank you for repeating what I just said. Said it all week. Like literally said that stat all week.
The other thing that I think we're now at the point of the season where, are we just far enough into the season where the whole Thursday night home thing is going to start to play out? Because we've just had 2 dogs win straight up on back-to-back Thursdays.
It didn't help Tulsa. Didn't help East Carolina. They didn't cover.
Did you see what Tulsa did? Oh, my goodness. Now, it does make some sense. You're down 3 scores, okay? But they have the 60-plus yard drive. They're in the red zone. Okay, there's less than 2 minutes to go in the game?
Right.
Now, in some places, the spread was 17.5.
I had it at 17.5.
Places it was 6. But at some place, like if you go to ESPN Bet, they listed the kickoff line as 16.5.
And that covered.
And then they kick a field goal with a minute and a half to go, down 17 to backdoor cover. It's a killer if you're on the Pirates. They score a touchdown, you're fine. It's a late grunter, it happens or what have you. But not a field goal. Down 3 scores. Come on now.
I know no one cares, but it's a team I'm paying attention to this year because I think they're going to be good. Ottawa pulled one out of the hat last night, or they would have been 1-4 and came back to beat Seattle. And Seattle's not good.
Scored late. To
Yeah.
send it to extras and won in a shootout. Well, who else did that?
Montreal scored late. And
Right.
then
Caulfield, 20 seconds to go to
and
tie
he had
it.
the tire too, and then
Yeah.
scores in overtime.
Yeah.
Panthers have just lost back-to-back on the road.
Not putting the biscuit in the basket either.
Well, I watched that. I mean, Detroit beat them. Like, Detroit was better. I didn't see the game last night, but Detroit, because they stole one in Toronto, but they won that game against Florida. I was stunned. Yes, Ohtani's a great player. Of course, we believe that. But but I will say, you can knock him for having 2 Ks last night, but come on, you lead off the game with a triple and you help put your team up. That's important in a series where the other team's not scoring. I don't think you can underplay the significance of the first run for the Dodgers right now. Granted, I know the Brewers got a home run and had a 1-0 lead in game 2 there, or game 2, and then got shut down. But when a team's struggling to get runs, getting the lead against them, I think is important. I don't know if you disagree or agree with me, David, but I mean, come on. Guy led off the game with a triple. No, he doesn't like him. He doesn't like him, Michael. That's between you guys. I don't care. I have a guy yelling at me because he thinks Stefanski's a horrible coach. You guys all have opinions. That's great.
Buck, there's no doubt he has not performed so far in the postseason the way he does otherwise.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour on this Football Friday.
Football Friday.
Lee Sterling at the top of the hour. He's had 4 straight winning weeks on this show.
You've not had a losing week in 2 weeks.
Stressing the positive.
Absolutely.
Here.
I've had 3 straight losing weeks, 3 straight 2-3 weeks.
Very consistent, though. All right. He's either 2-3 or 3-2. Which way does Mark Miller go? Our picks in an hour. Lee Sterling's picks coming up at the top of the hour. Can we go back to Signetti?
I'm glad I was hoping we would.
So you don't think Indiana made a mistake here, do you?
Oh no, I don't think they made a mistake. It's a ton of money.
Yeah.
And look, I don't think he's this guy, but because I went to school there and I followed him, and he's had 2 good years. But Mel Tucker had 1 good year, and they're like, here, there's a chance you're going to leave. Here's $9 million, and it worked out horribly. My only fear for Signetti is it is a school right now that would kick him to the curb tomorrow if they could be Purdue in basketball. They care far more about what goes on the hardwood than what goes on the football field.
Well, the athletic director doesn't.
And are they going to? Well, but from the NIL standpoint, is he going to get the resources he needs? And thus far they have. But if it comes between the 5-star hooper or the 4-star quarterback, will they have enough to pay both? I hope so. I'm rooting, David, I want you to know, I'm rooting for Indiana football. As a guy who grew up in the Big Ten and watched it be the Big 2 and the Little 8 for most of my life, there would be nothing greater than to see Indiana be on a same level as Ohio State and be beating the Michigans and the Penn States and the rest of them. It would be great. And it would be great for college football, I think. I was stunned with the amount of money they gave him. Stunned.
So they hired Kurt Signetti 20 months ago, and they paid him $4 a year. Some reports say as high as 4.5. So last year plays itself out, and they go 11-1, and they make the playoff, and they pull him aside and they go, "Yeah, how about if we extend your contract and we nearly double your pay? How about $8 million? How does that sound?" He's like, "Yeah, sure, that works for me." So I think they tack an extra year, maybe 2, on his original 5-year contract. And so then obviously this year unfolds. And he goes to Oregon and beats the Ducks. And Penn State fires their coach. Florida's about to fire their coach. And they call him up and they go, "We'd really like to have a deal done before we play this weekend. What would it take?" He's like, "Well, I mean, why don't you make me a top 5 highest paid coach in the league? We can do that." "Oh, I don't mean the Big Ten. I mean the whole sport." "Yep, we can do that. How about this? How about we add some more years onto the contract? How long do you want to work for? We'd like you to retire here at IU." He's like, "Well, I don't know. Finish out the decade, get me into my early 70s, and maybe we can, I don't know. What do you say we do 10 years here? So tack 8 years onto the current deal." "Okay. All right. We can do that. What number are you thinking?" "Oh, I don't know. I mean, the highest is around 12-ish. I mean, top 5 would be nice. So figure it out." "All right. How about 11.6? Okay, so we're doing 8 years and we're doing 11.6 million. Yeah. So we're doing about 93 million between now and 2033. Yeah. Yeah. How's that sound?" "Yeah, I can do that." "Okay, you guys work it out. I got a bunch of interviews to do. Everybody seemingly wants to talk to me. I got about 2 hours worth of interviews to do. You guys get the paperwork together. I'll sign it before the team meal." There we go. That's how we do it.
And David, I can't argue with a word you said. It's all factual for the most part. I mean, you did throw in your own conversation there, which was great.
Right.
I enjoyed it.
Right.
In fact, I didn't even have to be a part of it, so it made it even better from my end.
And I didn't do one of those fake, stupid voices.
We're all pleased. We're all pleased. But David, I don't care what he does the next 8 years. They'd rather win natties in basketball there.
Maybe.
Now, can they get both? We'll see.
But I think this is the athletic director realizing that in our soul, we may be a basketball school. In our fan base, we have more alums that care about hoop than we do football. But in this day and age, football is the golden goose.
No, you're absolutely right. And this is where I love what they did, because the athletic director understands in order for the basketball program to be funded the way it needs to be funded, you need to pay attention to football. And football needs to have all of the resources to be successful. And if they are, it will translate into a really good basketball program. 100%. This is what Arkansas can't figure out.
Right.
This is what my alma mater can't figure out. They put too much of their resources into basketball. North Carolina, despite the fact that Belichick fell on his face, they brought him in and gave the money to support the football program. It's gone horribly. Don't get me wrong. I mean, horribly. They're a bottom 5 team in Power 4 football. Who saw that coming? But they made the investment in the sport because one pays for the other. The other doesn't pay for football. Not anywhere. Not at Kansas, not at UCLA. Kentucky might be the last one that thinks it works that way.
It's funny you say that, because that's where I wanted to go in our remaining moments this segment. It came out yesterday. Do you know how much money Kentucky is spending on their basketball roster this year?
I would guess 12 to 15 million.
Higher.
Okay, 20.
Higher.
Holy Toledo.
Exactly. 22 million on their basketball roster this year. And you just wonder, okay, we get it. They're a basketball school. They're proud of it. That's their number one sport. We know that. But the football program has gone to in the last 2 years. And IU's not that far away geographically. And I'm just wondering if there are a few people at Kentucky, even if they're in the president's office or the AD's office, that's wondering, are we making a mistake here? Or are they doing the right thing?
But you have to get the guy. And Signetti appears to be the guy. Until proven otherwise, what he has done, and I've been on record on this show saying it's the best hire this century in college football. Before he got paid, I've said it all season. There's no better hire. Even Kirby at Georgia. Yeah, Georgia's had more success, but they were good before this. Indiana was a dumpster fire forever in football. And now, after making the playoff last year, they have a better team this year. Everybody thought the Hoosiers were going to be a one-hit wonder. Everybody.
Yeah, Dexy's Midnight Runners. That's what we thought.
God, there's a few dirty lines I could put right there, but I'm going to leave it alone, David. You keep throwing that out there, and I've got Come On Eileen jokes all day long that I'm keeping on the inside.
I just hate that song so much. Okay, that's why I keep throwing it out there.
The starting five is next. Tell the jokes inside your head, please. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. FloorMeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real. This year during Thanksgiving week, Fort Myers takes the national stage, hosting not one but two elite women's college basketball tournaments, the Fort Myers Tip-Off and Coconut Hoops, both featuring Power 4 teams and nationally ranked programs. Few places in the country can showcase this level of talent. We're proud that Fort Myers is one of them. Don't miss your chance. For tickets, go to visitfortmyers.com/basketball. Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 13325.
This is Miller and Moulton.
I mean, there have been, I will say, guys, you keep arguing, there have been a ton of guys that I can think of that have not been as good in the playoffs as they were in the regular season. I mean, Greg Maddux is arguably the best pitcher of my lifetime. Greg Maddux in the playoffs was not a phenomenal pitcher. He was quite average, if memory serves me right, without looking up numbers. And, you know, you want to take it to Ohtani. He did have 20% of their hits last night. They had 5 for the game. I have not, DC. But then again, I don't have MLB TV.
Greg Maddux was 11-14 in the postseason, ERA of 3.27. Now, his ERA is similar to his regular ERA, which is 3.16, but his winning percentage in the regular season was 61%. His WAR was 104.8.
And by the way, Puck, I don't know. I mean, he's not a showboat. He plays the game the right way. He runs hard. I mean, I don't know what there isn't to like about Ohtani. I understand that he's struggling in the postseason. I get it.
Now,
but I mean, if you're going to knock Vlad for being a showboat, Shohei is the complete opposite.
Now, do I think Ohtani was gambling? Yes.
Always have.
And I think it makes sense. I mean, in the playoffs, you're doing what? You're facing the best teams and or the best pitching in a lot of cases. So you would think that people would perform not as well.
I'm surprised the earned run with Maddux is as close as it is, because I just remember them getting to him, you know, because he threw first pitch strikes. And back then, guys weren't into taking pitches. Like, okay, you're going to throw me a strike, I'm going to hit it, because he didn't throw that hard.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes till Lee Sterling joins us on this Football Friday.
Football Friday.
But you know what time it is. Time now for
The Starting Five. 5 big stories you need to know. Here is the Starting Five.
And Mark, who is the Starting Five brought to you by?
Well, David, I've got it right there for you. I wanted to make sure you saw it. And unfortunately, I was doing something on the computer there, but it's brought to you by Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
How about that?
Why do you give a mocking voice when I do a sponsor?
No, it's just.
I mean, these are the people that pay the bills. I mean, you do know that.
No, I'm well aware of that. I just, first off, I do that once a broadcast. Okay, so it's just a matter of where am I going to work it in. But the fact that the starting five is sponsored by Lee County, your home, my longtime home, a place I miss dearly. Okay, yes, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism. That's who they are, and they're proud to say it. How about that?
Built you a graphic and everything so you wouldn't forget it.
I was just trying to double team and diversify the show. And, I'm going to talk for the next 15 straight minutes. I was just trying to work you in.
Sorry, I had to invite people to the show. I'd forgot you said Lee's coming. I'm like, crap, I didn't send him the email. So
Gotcha. Sorry. Okay. Just go do whatever it is you do. Go get a coffee, whatever. Bengals on Thursday Night Football. Joe Flacco, 300 plus yards passing, 3 touchdowns. Drove him into field goal range late. Evan McPherson, his 4th field goal of the day from 36 yards with 7 seconds to go. And the Bengals snapped their 4-game losing streak, an absolute must win. 33-31 over the Steelers. Aaron Rodgers threw 4 touchdowns, 3 of them to tight ends, including the go-ahead score to Pratt Freiermuth, a 68-yarder with 2:21 to go to put him up 1. Then he gets tackled by his left tackle, and he was not happy about it. Man, the old guy got up, looked at him like, what the are you doing? I get rid of the ball quickly so I don't get hit. Now I'm getting tackled by my own guys? Steelers fall to 4-2. Is the division back in play?
yes.
That's what we wonder. 2 old guys, by the way, threw for 591 yards and 7 touchdowns. College football, East Carolina proved the 4-3 with a 41-27 home win over Tulsa. Tonight, couple of interesting games. 7 o'clock on the 4-letter network, Louisville and number 2 ranked Canes from Miami. Miami a 13.5 point favorite at home. 7 o'clock, ESPN. Meanwhile, 8 o'clock on Big Fox, Nebraska, a 7.5 point road favorite at Minnesota. Come to think of it, that play's not on my list. I think that play should be on my list.
We're adding games.
I'm just saying.
We're adding games.
By the way, 10:30 tonight, Cal, a 9.5 point favorite at home against Chapel Bill and the Tar Heels. Wow. Who'd have thunk that 2 months ago? Other college football news. I don't know if you heard, Kurt Signetti got paid. Last year, he got his salary doubled to $8 million. Yesterday, he had the contract ripped up. 8-year extension, $11.6 million a year, $93 million fully guaranteed. His buyout's $15 million. The new deal runs through 2033. Signetti'd be 72 years old then. He said yesterday, I'm going to retire in Indiana. We'll see.
15 million. I have, with that contract, I'm amazed at least in the first 2 years, the buyout isn't significantly higher. Because, I think he's staying there. I'm not going to argue. But if you're Penn State and Florida and you want him, it's like, we'll match the contract, give you a little bit more. I can make that, I can sneeze that buyout money.
Big Ten private capital deal is now officially on hold. They don't want to do the deal unless all the schools will agree. So far, USC, Michigan, Ohio State, not on board with this private capital, private equity deal that's being negotiated by the Big Ten.
I believe it was a U.S. senator from Washington. It could have been a U.S. congressman from Washington. Literally wrote a letter to every Big Ten president, outlined what he thought the negatives of doing this deal were. I know people don't like the government stepping on that, but remember, a lot of these are state universities. So Certainly in Washington, he's within his bounds. The rest, you could argue he's not. But I found it interesting that he just said, hey, here are the pitfalls of this if you guys go down this road.
Arizona State quarterback Sam Leavitt, who missed the Sun Devils' blowout loss to Utah last week, 42-10, he is listed as probable for the matchup against number 7, Texas Tech. Baseball. Dodgers continue to outpitch the Brewers. 3-1 LA. They scored 2 in the 6th to win it. They're up 3 spit in the series. Tyler Glasnow, 5 2/3 innings, gave up just 1 run. Glasnow and 4 relievers shut down the Brew Crew. Game 4, what could be the final broadcast of the year for TBS, 8:30 tonight. The Dodgers try to win back-to-back pennants. Meanwhile, over in the American League, Toronto scored 3 in the 3rd, 2 in the 4th. Andres Jimenez, the 9-hole hitter with a homer and 4 RBIs. Vlad Jr. continues to tear it up this postseason. 2 for 5 with a homer. He's hitting .500 in the playoffs. Max Scherzer matched Glasnow, 5 2/3 innings. He gave up 2 runs because he walked the guy in the 6th, and the bullpen came in and allowed him to score. But Scherzer pitched well. Jays even the series at 2. Game 5, 6 o'clock tonight Eastern on FS1. Still can't get Big Fox. Nope. Joe Davis, John Smoltz relegated to FS1. Tim Brando, who will join us next Friday, by the way. Tim Brando and Big Fox, Nebraska at Minnesota tonight at 8 o'clock. Hockey, 11 games last night. Devils with 2 in the 3rd beat the Panthers 3-1. Toronto, Austin Matthews, the game-winning goal. In overtime, the Leafs over the Rangers 2-1. Montreal, they were going to lose at home to Nashville. Then Cole Caulfield scored with 20 seconds left to force overtime, and he said, well, while we're here, why don't I win it as well? And Montreal ends up getting 2 points. Nashville just 1. Canadians 3-2 in OT. Ottawa rallied, beat the Kraken 4-3 in a shootout. Mark Scheifele with 2 goals is now tied for the most points scored in Winnipeg Jets history. Damn. They've had a couple of dudes. Howardchuk, Solani. Anyway, Winnipeg 5-2 over the Flyers. The Avs are unbeaten, at least in regulation. They're 4-0-1. Nichushkin with 2 goals in their 4-1 win over Columbus. Bo Horvat, a hat trick. Islanders' first win of the year. They beat Edmonton 4-2. The Canucks scored 4 in the 2nd to hand Dallas their first loss of the year. 5-3 over the Stars. William Karlsson with 2 goals for Vegas. They beat Boston 6-5. On top of that, they made some big news off the ice. They're the first team to sign one of the Canada 5. The 5 Canadian junior players who went on trial were found not guilty of sexual assault and other things in a 2-year detour of their hockey careers. Carter Hart, former Flyers goalie, signed by Vegas. He's not eligible to play for the Golden Knights till December 1st, so it's technically a paid tryout contract. That's interesting. And then he's expected to join the team December 1st. Remember, the NHL has allowed all 5 members of the Canada 5 to resume their career, but not before December 1st.
Which makes 0 sense. How can you be innocent, reinstated in the league, and then be suspended? It doesn't make any sense to me.
I agree. Either they're in good standing or they're not. They've already sat out 2 years. They have to sit out 2 more months. Doesn't make any sense. Carolina, they're a perfect 4-0. They beat the Ducks 4-1. And the Penguins were down 4-2 in Los Angeles and rallied to beat the Kings 4-2. By the way, Brady Tkachuk for Ottawa. They said he was going to miss a month. Yeah, they amended that 6 to 8 weeks. Man, the Tkachuk brothers banged up to start the year. NBA news. I know this is going to shock you, but 35-year-old Paul George is not going to be healthy enough when the season starts next week. I know, it's shocking. Paul George has only played 60 or more games once in the last 6 seasons. He's recovering from off-season left knee surgery. And this is big news. Curious if somebody makes an in-season deal or if he's just the big prize in next year's offseason. But the Atlanta Hawks and Trae Young announced that they are not going to come to terms on a contract extension before the season starts. Trae Young is entering the final year of his contract. He's just 27 years old. He took the Hawks to a conference final his second year in the league. They've had very little success since. Do you think you can go deep in the playoffs with Trae Young, or is he just a fun, spectacular, regular season performer? But yeah, Trae Young in the postseason, too much of a liability with his size and stature and lack of a defensive effort. Very interesting. If you think Trae Young,
he does not like defense.
No, he does, and he's not very big. You can do a lot against him. He's also a spectacular offensive force.
Yes, he is. You're right.
And can single-handedly, most playoff games are tight, can literally, and he plays with the ball in his hand, can literally win you games in the final 6 minutes of regulation by himself.
Can lose them for you in the first 42.
He can, and that's why it's interesting is somebody, remember the Hawks and Mavs made a draft day trade straight up Trae Young for Luka. Very curious what happens here. Hawks just going to keep him, let him go, ultimately going to sign him, or is Trae Young going to be a mid-season acquisition for someone? So I thought it was worthwhile. Season starts next week, I believe. I think it's next week. Who knows? Could be the week after. But I think it's next week because it keeps starting earlier and earlier. And at 8 minutes before the hour, that was the starting five. 5 big stories and Trae Young, brought to you by Lee County, Florida. Building a better community through business, sports, and tourism. Lee County. Proud sponsors of Miller and Moulton.
Tuesday, the 21st,
Yeah.
the NBA tips off.
See, I was right. I doubted myself.
I know. I just was giving you the date. Just
you.
here to make sure, because it wasn't. You kind of said it in a question.
Right. Well, I said it, then I questioned myself. All right. So yeah. So I gave myself a qualifier. I think I'm right, but it's early. The wires aren't fully touching.
Well, and speaking of questioning ourselves, Miller and Moulton will make their picks against the number in a little more than 25 minutes.
Got that right.
Lee Sterling coming up in a little less than 10 minutes time to give his picks. Back-to-back winning weeks. In fact, 3 in a row for Lee after a little bit of a rough start. So Lee will give us his picks. Pat Kirwan, the top of the 8 o'clock hour. We'll make our picks, go over a great, great weekend in college football coming up. And we always talk NFL. So win or go home match in Cleveland, we think, for the Dolphins and the Browns. All coming up on Miller and Moulton. Football season is back, and celebrate your game day with Jimmy the Beef Guy. We're talking tender, juicy Chicago beef sandwiches. Whether your party's for 10, 100, or 200, bring game day to your house with Jimmy the Beef Guy. The catering packages come with the beef, the gravy, the peppers, the bread, everything you need. 2 convenient locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. Skip the ordinary and bring the beef. Jimmy the Beef Guy, Chicago flavor, Southwest Florida style. Call today or visit jimmythebeefguy.com. Tell them Miller and Moulton sent you.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. capecops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to nolanagency.com. That's 941-639-1122 or nolanagency.com. Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Hello, hello. Lee, can we hear you? There we go.
Morning.
Morning, Lee.
How you guys doing?
Good. How are you?
Hanging in there. My mom was diagnosed 2 days ago with cancer. She's had horrible. She's had Parkinson's for like 31 years, and she had a horrible episode. They had to rush her to the ER. Her body was convulsing and everything, and that's where they found it. So just want to keep her calm and in no pain. So
Wow.
Sorry to hear that.
thanks. Yeah, just when you have to tell her what the diagnosis was, that was God, it had to be the toughest thing I ever had to do. Rough.
Yep.
Yep.
Life doesn't stop.
I know.
Yep.
Circle of life.
Yep.
So How about Joe Flacco, huh? The Bengals.
How about
offense?
Joe Flacco?
You know what? Someone was telling me, "Oh, it's just Joe Flacco." I said, "No. You know what? It's the way that he just instills confidence. Their offensive line is actually blocking a little bit.
A little bit, but he gets rid of the ball fast. I mean, I will
Yes.
say, when they're in the quarterback room, Joe Burrow should be paying attention to the fact that this guy holds onto the ball for
Yeah.
far less time than you do.
Yeah, no, I
I'm
agree.
not saying that Flacco's better than Burrow. I'm not even trying to.
No,
insinuate
no.
that. But he gets rid of the ball quickly, and Joe Burrow, for all the sacks he takes, some of them are on him.
Yep, I agree. So
Joe still thinks he's playing behind that LSU offensive line.
I'd love to have Jamar Chase as my receiver.
Oh my goodness.
There's a couple guys like Kim. Who was it?
I do think Chase is the best. I even think he's
Yeah.
better than Jefferson.
Well, I mean, Puka's good. He's almost
He is.
unguardable also, but he's just a little bit bigger, a little bit stronger, you know. It's interesting. I like the Miami game tonight, but I'll tell you also, I like the over too, aside a lot. I think
Okay.
a lot of weapons on both sides.
I do like the fact that they're starting, nationally, Bain's starting to get really, not that he's going to win the Heisman, but he's getting talked about. And I mean,
Yeah.
that's
I mean, they're-
here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour 2 of Miller and Moulton on this Football Friday.
Football Friday.
And we always start it with Lee Sterling of Paramount Sports, ParamountSports.com, 800-400-9741. You can always follow Lee on X at Paramount Sports. 4 straight winning weeks on this show. And Lee has been on a roll this month for his clients. Lee, good morning. How are you?
Good, hanging in there.
Good.
Fridays are always fun if you got a team playing on Friday night. So anticipation and it's gonna be fun to see. I think Louisville's gonna be a fun team to watch here. Battle Miami.
Lee, I give you credit, and I still have my fandom, for my alma mater. But being in the business you're in, particularly, it's one thing for us doing a show.
Yeah.
Because we get to be fans. I've always said I'm more of a fan than a sports talk show host. But as a handicapper, you can still separate the two. But when you watch the Canes, you're not thinking about the spread. You're like, damn it, just win the game. Let's go Miami. I love it.
You have to. I'll never forget this. Blake James, the former Miami AD, he ended up working out at my gym. And he stopped me one time. I was getting ready to leave. And he said to me, I listen to you on the radio, Miami, and I see you in the paper, and you always go against us. And I said, because you're not good. You're not covering. I said, I have a job to do. He wanted me to be nice. I said, do you think I want to pick against you? My dad was a team dentist for 30 years. I have my master's from there. My daughter graduated from there. I mean, I would love to pick you almost every week. I can't. You're just not good. You made a lot of mistakes. So he looked at me, just shrugged his shoulders and moved on.
And then
that's why he's at Boston College.
And then you offered him the clicker and said, now that I'm done, okay, here, you can watch the TV. Said it? My goodness.
All right. Let's start with the Canes. They play tonight. Louisville. Louisville was supposed to be, at least record-wise, a little better than they are right now. Virginia stunned them a couple of weeks ago. Pretty big number. I thought this was going to be one of Miami's toughest games, and Miami's a 13.5-point favorite, Lee.
Well, it could still end up being one of Miami's toughest games. So if you want to bet the top 4 or 5 teams in the country, you're going to pay a 2 to 3 point premium, just the way it is here. This line should probably be 10.5. They have skilled players all over the field. I mean, the quarterback Miller Moss was at USC, was good. Turned out just ended up getting beat out by someone better. He makes big plays. He also turns the ball over and throws interceptions. And with Miami having the number 1 and number 2 guys, edge rushers like Bain and Messidor, probably will happen again. But their running back, Brown from Miami, down here at Miami Homestead High School, he's been banged up, but he'll play. And Bell and Lacey, they're as good as Miami's top 2 receivers here. Their defensive front's actually pretty good too, but I think the turnovers will ultimately not allow them to win the game here, and Miami is better up front. I think Miami wins this game 42-31. I'm going to take Louisville plus the points here, plus 13.5. My strongest play is going to be over 50.5 total points.
Florida State, having lost 3 in a row.
Yeah.
In Stanford, late tomorrow night.
Yeah.
18.5. I know Stanford's terrible, but that's a lot of points on the road.
Yep. And it is. They're going to run the ball, though, Stanford. And when you run the ball 57, 58% of the time, shortens the game here. I just think that Florida State's turnovers will ultimately probably cost them the point spread win here. Also playing late at night, not easy here. They have to be a little disinterested. We've seen a lot of teams go east to west and west to east and have problems here. Stanford's second worst team as far as my power ratings. So they are that bad. But I think they're going to cover. I think this number is just a little too high. I think Florida State wins this game, something like 38 to 25. I'll take Stanford plus the 18 and hold my nose.
All right, to Sunday and Monday we go. Let's start with early Sunday morning in London. The Rams don't know exactly what Puka's status is. I know he's banged up, but they're a 3.5-point favorite over the Jags.
Well, I'm hearing he's probably not going to play. And when Puka doesn't play, they're 2-4 straight up without him. Ankle injury. I mean, used to seem like these ankle injuries used to heal a lot quicker than way they are now. I mean, like look at JJ McCarthy. I mean, it's been a month. High ankle sprain. I played 2 weeks later with an ankle that looked like an elephant foot. So I don't know what's going on there. You would think with modern technology they would have these guys back quicker, but not the case here. The Rams faced 2 backup quarterbacks the last 2 weeks here. No Puka. I'm not taking the Rams here. Jacksonville, talked about the offensive line, much better. Wrong team favorite here. Jags straight up 24-20.
Ooh, would be a huge win for the Jags, particularly if you look at their schedule second half of the year. There could be a lot of wins on it. All right. I say the loser Sunday afternoon in Cleveland is fired, doesn't see lunch on Monday, and I'm serious. Browns, Dolphins, Cleveland with Dylan Gabriel, a 2.5-point favorite.
And what's funny is you see you turn on AI. They've had these guys fired like 483 times. So when it finally happens, I'm going to have to check it out and make sure. But I do think, probably whoever loses this game is fired here. I'd rather see Chris Greer fired. The GM, the roster construction of the Dolphins is horrendous. I think Quashon Junkins is going to have a huge game here. We've saw what 2 running backs have done the last 2 weeks, and no-name guys. Over 200 and almost 150 yards last week from the Chargers running back with down 3 starting offensive linemen here. I like Cleveland here, 23-17.
And finally, Monday night, it's a battle of which hurt unit will do better, the Bucs receivers or the banged-up Lions secondary. Vegas is betting on the Lions secondary because they're a 5.5-point favorite.
Right. So the Bucs are road warriors, 13-5 against the spread in that role under Todd Bowles. And, the Lions sometimes 1 week they look terrible, opening week and last week, and they can come back the next week firing on all cylinders. I think they're much, much better on turf. I think they're a speed team here. And I think Tampa Bay's going to have a game here where it's just going to be too much for Baker Mayfield to come back. And I think that Lions just have too many weapons here for the Bucs here, catching them. Big game here. The last time they played, Bucs won 20-16. Red zone, Detroit was 1 for 7. That was their problem. So they were in the red zone, just couldn't convert at all. I like Detroit 34-21.
Game of the week, Billy Napier's swan song against Mississippi State. Line is fluctuated down to 9.5 in many spots.
Yep.
How do they get it?
If he loses this game, I can guarantee you he doesn't make it to Monday. So you want to get this game for free. I think there's a clear right side to this game. Call 800-400-9741. Again, the number 800-400-9741. You want to get Florida and Mississippi State on me. And how about this? On Sunday, the last 4 weeks, we put out 5 games each Sunday. 4 weeks ago, we went 5-0 for our clients. 3 weeks ago, 5-0 again. 2 weeks ago, 5-0. And last week, I let everyone down. I went 4-1. We're on a 19-1 run for our clients on our Sunday plays. We have what's called Lee's NFL Sunday Golden Ticket. You get 4 weeks of games on Sunday. They're all ready to go right now. They're going to be just $197. So you want to play with us on Sunday for the next 4 weeks, $197, or through the last week of the NFL season, Sundays only, 12 weeks, $497. Also a big UFC fight from Vancouver. Check all the specials out. Just one place, ParamountSports.com.
So Lee taking a lot of points this week, taking the 18.5 with Stanford, taking the 13.5 with Louisville tonight, taking the Jags and the points, thinks the Jags are going to win outright. Will lay the points, however, Sunday afternoon with the Browns against the Dolphins, and will lay the points Monday night. Thinks the Bucs are too banged up, and will lay the 5.5 with the Lions. Get his game of the week, Gators and Mississippi State, at 800-400-9741. Lee Sterling, Paramount Sports, ParamountSports.com. Lee, all the best to you and the family. We'll talk next week.
Thanks, guys. Take care. Be safe.
You bet. By the way, read a very interesting article. Pro Football Network. Lee mentioned, we said, hey, think the loser of Cleveland, Miami head coach gets fired. He said, yeah, I'd rather see Chris Greer get fired. Pro Football Network, they're, this is their theory. Why it is that Chris Greer hasn't been fired and why it is he may not be fired. Brian Flores's lawsuit. That essentially Greer knows where the bodies are buried. And as long as he's employed, he can't testify. But if he were to become unemployed, unless there's language in the contract, Chris Greer could testify on behalf of Brian Flores. Thought that was interesting.
It is. It's fascinating. And fact of the matter is, how much money are you, Mr. Ross, how much money are you losing keeping Greer? Your stadium's half full. Your product is awful. And it's largely because of your general manager. He has made horrible decisions, and then he listened to a coach convince him to run his team a certain way and got players for that system that largely haven't worked out. So, how much is the lawsuit by Flores?
Well, I don't know the specifics, and there are ways around it. Like, first off, there could be language in his existing contract where he can't talk. Mark, there are times when people are fired, but essentially they're paid off not to talk. And maybe Stephen Ross and the Dolphins could do that. I don't know, but I found that very interesting, that a reputable national media site would talk about this out loud. This was not message board material. This is not bloggers. I just found that to be interesting.
I do too. If I'm Ross, That's not why I'm keeping the general manager. I'll pay the damn lawsuit. I just want to have a football team that's competitive and maybe put a few butts in seats.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000 depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com, capecops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow & Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow & Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow & Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
Let's talk the big differences between Floormeisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floormeisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floormeisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floormeisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floormeisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 13325.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Puck, I have a buddy who is a diehard Bills fan who screamed at me for a good 12 minutes about that very subject. I shouldn't say screamed at me, screamed to me. Because Allen's interview, and I didn't see it before the game last week, he just talked about his wife and how it's changed him and was asked point blank if, I don't know if I think I have the question right, but how not winning a Super Bowl would affect his legacy. And he said, not that much, basically. Yeah, I know it would be something, but not that much. And that's not the most important thing. And my family is in da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And my buddy was going nuts. Started just rattling off all of these different athletes from different sports whose wives you never even knew existed. And trust me, he's not the only Buffalo fan that thinks that way, Puck. I can't find a number on the Flores suit, DC, but my guess is it's, he would have to pay. I don't know how much of the contract for Flores was guaranteed when he got fired, but I believe, see, this is the part that's weird. David, help me out here, but aren't most, the way I've read it, and I've read a lot of this recently, coaches' contracts are guaranteed. While the player contracts in the NFL aren't, most of the coaches' contracts are. So it's a wrongful termination lawsuit, but he still got paid.
I just don't know if he had that many years left on his contract. So, but he's, arguing racism. And Ask the poll question: who would Dolphin fans rather be their head coach today, Brian Flores or Mike McDaniel?
It would be so lopsided, it's not even funny. And also because of just how soft the Dolphins are. Flores was the complete opposite of that.
Right.
David, it's National Pasta Day.
Okay.
I just don't know if you go, a cream sauce, a red sauce.
Okay.
I don't know if there's something there.
Yeah, I was going to say, are we doing different pasta dishes? I mean, you're the cook. I'll go with whatever you think is the most interesting pasta question.
Because I'm trying to think of the football game. Is there there's not really a football game question out there. There's not a game that I can say where everybody, the Florida teams don't play big games, if you will. Miami's got the biggest game, and they're a 2-touchdown favorite.
I agree. So you're thinking cream sauce, red sauce. Do you go cheese? I mean, are we debating noodles here?
I mean, it's pasta. I mean, they all do taste the same.
Right. I mean,
you're right, NC USC, but that's over a touchdown spread left, Twix.
I know.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
A lot of debate during the commercial break. It's another reason to join us, twitch.tv/Miller and Moulton or Miller and Moulton YouTube channel. It's National Pasta Day, and you would think there's got to be a poll question associated with this. But, I mean, what are we doing, sauce? Are we doing?
You got red sauce, white sauce, mac and cheese. I don't know.
Oh, well, how about this? Spaghetti and meatballs versus lasagna versus come up with another dish.
Fettuccine Alfredo for all of you white sauce folks out there. I don't know. I started making my own pasta, though. Homemade pasta. It's a damn game changer, David.
Well, we do too, okay? We make it too. We get it at the store in the box, and then we boil the water. And
you know how to boil water?
I do. I turn the stove on, and I wait right when the fire department's on their way. I figure the water's ready for the pasta.
Roofing of Florida text line is open. 21,000 is the number. The keyword is Miller. So text Miller to 21,000 if you've not texted the show before. Pelican Roofing of Florida, 1-866-9-PELICAN. 1-866-9-PELICAN, all over the Sunshine State. Commercial, residential, Pelican Roofing of Florida, proud sponsor of Miller and Moulton and our text line.
We have some nominating ravioli to be the fourth choice. It seems like something that, you serve to someone between the ages of 8 and 12, but okay.
Wow, really?
Just saying.
You're something. You are something.
But it's up to you. You're the chef on the show.
Yeah.
So, whatever you want to go with, I support.
Just go put that casserole in the oven.
Had another one last night. Chicken Alfredo. Had the large size
casserole.
I know. It was tremendous. And by tremendous, I mean on a scale of 1 to 10, it was about a 3.5.
Love to see just the amount of sodium in that. All right, let's make picks.
7,000 grams. Okay,
right.
Over what the national daily allowance is. All right. So I'm sticking with 8 because the last 2 weeks I've gone 5-3 and 4-4. It's the only 2 non-losing weeks I've had. So I'm sticking with the number 8. I know Minnesota doesn't score a ton, but PJ Fleck is really good at playing the, hey, big national game when they're at home. Nebraska, are they as good as their record? They might be. They've won a few close games this year. Their only loss at home to Michigan. I like the Gophers and the points tonight. I think Nebraska wins 28-24. I'm getting 7.5 with the Gophers tonight. Love the hook. Give me the Gophers and the points. Okay. I just need to say this out loud. LSU is playing Vanderbilt, and LSU is getting 2.5. I'm not going to overthink this one. I'm taking LSU in the points. You can't tell me Vandy's roster is as good as LSU's. You just can't. Now, the quarterback might be better. Their coach might be better. But come on now. I can't believe I'm betting this game. UConn is at BC. BC's lost 5 in a row. BC has quietly become one of the 5 worst Power 4 conference teams in the country. Bill O'Brien's not going to see Thanksgiving. UConn's had a bye week. I'm getting 1.5 with UConn. I'm going to take them. In fact, it probably leads to Bill O'Brien getting fired before Monday. Would you take Penn State 3.5 at Iowa this week?
I thought about it.
Would you take Penn State in 3.5 if they had a healthy quarterback and James Franklin was still the coach? Iowa's pretty good. In fact, they're better than that. I'm going to take Iowa at home. I don't think Penn State with the backup quarterback is going to score a lot of points. Penn State is not playing hard. Their heart is not into it. Give me Iowa and lay the 3.5. USC is a good team. Now, Notre Dame's a good to very good team, but USC, I feel confident in saying, is a good team. I'm getting a good team in 9.5. 9.5. And they score points. And don't tell me Notre Dame's defense has rebounded. They've played no one. I'm taking the 9.5. I think they win, but I think USC covers. And the Holy War. BYU's unbeaten. BYU's at home. BYU's getting 3.5. Give me the Cougars at home and 3.5 against Utah. Only 2 NFL plays. I love teams that lose on Monday night. The Commanders lost on Monday night. I think they'll run it down Dallas's throat. High-scoring game. They win the shootout in Dallas. They're only laying 1.5. And could somebody explain to me why the Saints on the road are only a 4.5-point underdog to a Bears team that's won 3 in a row? Somebody help me out here? I'll take the Bears and lay the points.
So there's David's great 8. We agree on one game. I thought the same thing you did. I get LSU against Vanderbilt, and LSU's getting points. If I'm wrong,
yeah,
okay.
Yep.
I'm not losing my money betting against LSU against Vandy. I actually think this is one of those times, David, that I don't know if Brian Kelly talks point spreads with his team. I don't think that he does. But I do think a coach or coaches or players are going, they're not picking you to win this game. You know that the experts say you can't beat Vanderbilt. And I do think if I were a coach, I'd be barking that at my team all week long. They're saying you're going to lose this game. It's Vanderbilt. Yeah, they're good, but I like LSU in this game. I'm betting a Friday night game. Haven't done it yet, and I went all college again this week. I'm looking at that NFL slate. I don't think it's a good week of games. I think the best games are on Monday, and I typically don't do Monday night football games with this list. Boston College, you're right, David. They're one of the 5 worst Power 4 teams. You know who they're probably better than? North Carolina. Cal's not bad, and North Carolina's awful. It's a big number, but as Lee says, sometimes you got to lay it if you want to play it. Give me the Bears. I'll lay the 9.5 against the Tar Heels. This should be a really good game. Georgia Tech and Duke. You know I've been high on the Jackets all year long. It comes down to one thing in this game. Can Duke stop Georgia Tech from running the football? They're not a good running defense. Georgia Tech is an excellent running football team. Georgia Tech wants to actually slow this game down. Haynes King's a great quarterback, but Duke's quarterbacks put up better numbers this year. I'm going to take the team that I think's better. I'm getting 1.5. Give me Georgia Tech. Georgia as a favorite is 4-14 in the last couple of years against the spread. I don't think this is a great Georgia football team. They might be pretty good. I certainly don't think they're great. I'm taking Ole Miss plus the 7.5 in Athens. And finally, Arkansas, I know they've changed the coach and they fired him and they played better against teams. I just think A&M's a good team. Now, their running back's banged up. Is that going to be a factor? I hope not. I've got to lay a pretty big number. Give me A&M laying 7.5 against Arkansas. So Cal minus 9.5, Georgia Tech plus the small number, Ole Miss plus 7.5, LSU plus 2.5, and A&M minus 7.5. That's my 5. Miller and Moulton. Pat Kirwan coming up top of the 8 o'clock hour. Thanks for listening. MillerandMoulton.com.
Football season is back, and celebrate your game day with Jimmy the Beef Guy. We're talking tender, juicy Chicago beef sandwiches. Whether your party's for 10, 100, or 200, bring game day to your house with Jimmy the Beef Guy. The catering packages come with the beef, the gravy, the peppers, the bread, everything you need. 2 convenient locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. Skip the ordinary and bring the beef. Jimmy the Beef Guy, Chicago flavor, Southwest Florida style. Call today or visit jimmythebeefguy.com. Tell him Miller and Moulton sent you.
Got a cracked window or foggy glass? Don't wait for the next storm to make it worse. Your local Glass Doctor Home and Business is just down the road and ready to help. From leaky frames to shattered panes, we've got the tools and the know-how to get your home or business storm ready. With flexible scheduling and our done right promise, you'll be in good hands. So before or after the weather hits, call your neighbors at Glass Doctor.
Glass Doctor, Glass Doctor. Call the Glass Doctor, we fix your pains. Oh yeah.
For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to nolanagency.com. That's 941-639-1122 or nolanagency.com.
Let's talk the big differences between Floormeisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floormeisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floormeisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floormeisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floormeisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
This is Miller and Moulton.
All right. I've got spaghetti and meatballs, lasagna, fettuccine alfredo, and ravioli on the list. Is that acceptable? And I'm not asking David. I'm actually asking you in the Twitch and YouTube audience because a chicken Alfredo casserole over there isn't the go-to here.
My mother nominated linguine with white clam sauce.
I think that should be on instead of fettuccine Alfredo. Fettuccine Alfredo, no, that's for an 8 to 10-year-old.
my buddy Bob, lawyer friend, said, "What kind of pasta should David have with his tuna mac?"
Exactly. That a lot of the Twitch audience goes, "Should you put up there as well?" Linguine and clam sauce or ravioli? I will say the butternut squash ravioli at Angelina's. It's outstanding. Outstanding. Ravioli it is. Well, you guys butcher me if I don't have the right 4 answers. You guys spend half the show going after me for it. I'm gun shy, for crying out loud.
Robes were just men of the people. That's it. I think it's going to be Wentz, by the way, for the Vikings. It's sounding like against the Eagles.
So did Brent Martineau go to London?
Yeah.
Okay, good for him.
Oh, this sports department is all in.
Well, I noticed when he retweeted our show tweet at 5:50, I'm like, what are you doing up? Oh, he must be over there. That was the, because sometimes he'll retweet it, but it's usually,
Right.
7:30, 8 o'clock. And so I was like, okay.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour when Pat Kirwan will join us on Miller and Moulton. MillerandMoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Kurt Signetti got paid. Jays even the series with the Mariners. Dodgers a win away from returning to the World Series. Canes in action tonight. Couple of other games as well in college. Oh, the 2 old guys threw for nearly 600 yards and 7 touchdowns in the icy hot bowl that the Bengals had to have, and they got it. And now the Steelers can't run away with the division at least for another couple weeks. Lot of good college games. Can I challenge you on Ole Miss? I nearly took Ole Miss when it was 8.5. And I think you're right, by the way, about Georgia. This is not a great Georgia team. This is merely a good Georgia team. Offensively, they're not as good as they've been. Defensively, they're not as good as they've been, although they're terrific in the red zone. They do allow you to move up and down the field in between the 20s. They're very good in the red zone. But, Mark, I'm curious about Ole Miss, Georgia for this reason and this reason alone. So how good is Ole Miss?
I don't know, David. You're right. Both of these teams could be, is fraud too strong of a word? Probably.
Yes.
But you know what I'm getting at.
Yes. Put it this way, overranked. Is that fair?
Yeah, I mean, if they had won the games the way they had won, and if they were in the Big Ten, they wouldn't be ranked where they are. They're getting the SEC love that they're both ranked as highly as they are.
Because Ole Miss won at Kentucky by 7.
Right? No, David, I know.
They won at home against Arkansas by 6. That coach has already been fired. They beat LSU at home by 5. They just beat Washington State at home by 3.
Were they looking ahead to Georgia in that one? Were they? That's my only. Were they just sleepwalking through that Washington State game? And was it the perfect time to play badly but win so that Lane could get them ready for this week?
What's a little disconcerting, and while in watching a good chunk of that game, I agree with you, Mark. I do think that there was just no energy in the crowd, but that was Ole Miss coming off a bye also. I mean, no juice, no energy coming off a bye. A little surprising. The only time that Ole Miss, I thought, they look good, was they whooped Tulane. Tulane's a pretty good group of 5 team. Some thought it might be the best group of 5 team when the season started. Everybody said they were a top 5 group of 5 team. Tulane came in feeling good about themselves, and Ole Miss beat them by 5 touchdowns. But otherwise, they've won by 3, by 5, by 6, and by 7. The other thing, Mark, this is their second road game, and their first one was at Kentucky. Could be the easiest place to play in the SEC these days.
No, David, I got you. Georgia had 2 layups, and that had a 3-point win over Tennessee. Tennessee doesn't stop anybody. They couldn't stop Georgia. Then they lose to Alabama. They beat Kentucky soundly. Kentucky's awful. They shouldn't have won against Auburn. That was 17-0. I mean, come on.
Mark, quite frankly, they got outplayed by Tennessee. They got outplayed by Auburn for much of that game, and the officials totally bailed them out. I mean, this Georgia team is dangerously close to being 3-3. Dangerously close to being 3-3. So this game fascinates the hell out of me. Mark, what's Lane Kiffin's big win on the road at Ole Miss?
Does he have one?
I don't believe he does. He's beaten Bama at home. He beat Georgia at home last year. He's had some big home wins.
But this is where, this is one of the things going back to when you and Gary worked in the SEC. And I don't do this, and I wish there was somewhere I could get it, but I know it's work that you had to do for Gary. When you look at the team rankings, like for instance, Georgia's 18th in the nation in points allowed. I'm sorry, I don't count their games against Marshall and was it Austin P? It doesn't matter. Gary used to make you do all of the stats just against SEC opponents. I remember that was one of the things that you had to do for him. That he's like, I don't give a damn what their year-long stats are because they play 3 cupcakes at the beginning of the year, and those don't matter.
Right. He would
And
want to
every
know.
once in a while, I get it. Every once in a while, an SEC team plays a tough opening game, LSU, Alabama, etc. But you know what we're getting at here.
Well, and he would count that if it was a quality at the time Power 5, but now Power 4. You count. Listen, I think you count the Oregon stats against Oklahoma State. They're terrible, but they are Power 4. I mean, I think you should count those stats. But yes, what Gary preferred was to just give me SEC stats. How are they doing in comparison to the rest of the teams in the conference? What are their numbers against other SEC teams? And then it would have to be a non-conference opponent that met a lofty criteria.
And David, I have to be brutally honest here. One of the things that I always do, and it'll come back and bite me right in the tuchus this week, is lay points, lay points, lay points. And I looked at the slate this week and said, where am I getting points in games that I like? And I just think this is a touchdown game. I think the hook in this game is enormous.
And
not to mention Georgia's record against the spread the last couple of years is not very good.
Well, you can't deny that. Now, I don't know if this stat mark means anything to you or to anyone else. Top 25 teams versus the spread this year, not by one loss record, but by how much they've covered by. The number one team in the country, skewed largely because of one game, is Indiana. Indiana has beaten the spread by 76 points. By the way, you and I, very foolish to be betting against Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt, the fourth best team in this formula against the spread. Vandy has beaten the spread by 66 points this year. Texas Tech, by the way, is somebody we should be betting even more than you and I have, but neither one of us are on them this week. Maybe we should be, because Texas Tech is tied with South Florida for sixth best in the country, beating the spread by 59 points so far this year.
Is this is total every game? This isn't against top 25 teams.
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
All right. That's
why.
I mean, but
if you think about it,
look at it. Vanderbilt's played Charleston, Southern, Virginia Tech, and Georgia State, for crying out loud.
I don't know that there were point spreads against Charleston Southern and Georgia State. But even so, Mark, there are point spreads, and they're usually really big. And so you then have to cover that number and then some. So, yeah, listen, you can attack this formula for just that reason. Like Indiana's number one because of the win over Illinois.
Right.
I mean, they won by what? 7 touchdowns? More?
But I mean, I'm just looking, in the last 2 weeks, Vanderbilt did not cover against Utah State and did not cover against Alabama. So they're trending in the wrong direction.
Miami, Notre Dame, USC, all top 20 teams by margin of them covering. By the way, your son's East Carolina Pirates were top 15 in the country before last night.
And by the way, that game, we had it as 17.5. There were other places that had it at 16.5. And David, how did that game end?
East Carolina, Mark, was up 17 for most of the fourth quarter, and then Tulsa went on a 60-something yard drive. And in the final 2 minutes, down 17, they made the unusual move to kick a short field goal to make it a 2-score game with a minute and a half to go. Now, you can justify it going from 3 scores down to 2 scores down, but it is highly unusual to be down 17 with less than 2 minutes to go and opt for the short field goal. But once again, college football coaches have no idea what the point spread is on their team. No idea at all.
I will say it's not a point spread thing, but I did see in The Athletic when they were picking their playoff teams and looking at the they did a little mid-season report of who they think is going to make the playoffs, etc. South Florida was the team they picked from the group of 5. 55% of them had South Florida. And, Tulane was the darling early in the season. But obviously they lost badly against Ole Miss, and East Carolina played them right to the end a couple weeks ago.
Now, I have to admit, and you and I, it's tough to be more on the Alex Golesh wagon than you and I are. And we were on it when he inherited 1-11. We were interviewing him regularly, and we just believed this guy is a winning coach. However, Memphis is perfect against the number this year. Memphis is what? Unbeaten?
Yep.
And USF has to go to Memphis.
Yep.
I for as much as you and I are on the Bulls wagon and have cannonballed into the goalless deep end, I think it's, to be objective, it's tough to pick against Memphis right now in the American.
No, there's no doubt. But Memphis, I will say, they play all of the big teams. They get UAB this week. Next week, they host South Florida. Then they have Rice on a Thursday night. That'll be no problem on the road even. But then it's Tulane at East Carolina, bye week, home for Navy. Of the teams in the American, they have the most difficult road to remain undefeated. That's all. And you're right. They're the best team right now until proven otherwise. But South Florida, they play at Memphis, they play at Navy, but that's it. The rest of the teams they play are not the top-end teams in the conference. They didn't get East Carolina. They didn't get Tulane on their schedule. So there are some breaks for the Bulls.
That Memphis-South Florida game in Memphis, could that be a preview of the conference championship game? Could they play twice this year? I think so.
Very possible. American Conference is good. You can mock
Very
all
good.
you want. And look, we get it. It's not a Power 4 conference, but they've got some good football teams.
Yeah, they do. They do. By the way, Big Noon is at BYU, Utah. It's actually Utah BYU because I believe the Cougars are hosting. So game day is in Athens for Ole Miss and Georgia, pair of top 10 teams in the SEC. Big Noon out at the Holy War. They won't call it that, though.
Why not?
Well, it's true. We'll see.
Portnoy will. Are you kidding me? He doesn't care.
I understand. Well, I'll be curious if they will refer to the game as the Holy War.
I will say, and I've not watched a lot of Big Noon, but I do see videos and clips. Portnoy, win or lose, does his little videos. And he had his hoodie on, and he was, mad about Michigan getting run down by USC. Leinart did a video after the fact and took it to Portnoy. If you're an anti-Dave Portnoy guy, and I like him, he's done amazing things for small business. The pizza reviews are hysterical, and you can't deny what he built as a business is one of the most successful things I've ever seen. But man, did Matt Leinart give it to him, and it was hysterical.
Leinart also did a video because this is the 20-year anniversary of the Bush push. And so he tried to say, no, I just spun off the tackle and spun into the end zone. And Brady Quinn is throwing a tantrum going, oh, come on, man, it's been 20 years. Just admit the truth.
And then if you really want to have some fun, watch the SEC videos of everybody showing how you call a timeout at Georgia. Worth the price of admission in and of itself. They are. Kirby's getting it for that one, and he deserves it. But Ole Miss for the Dogs on Saturday. We'll see. We will switch gears to Sundays. Take a look at last night's game and look ahead to what happens this weekend in the NFL with Pat Kirwan
He's next on Miller and Moulton. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. FloorMeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine, no more snoring, no more tossing, no more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
This year during Thanksgiving week, Fort Myers takes the national stage, hosting not one but two elite women's college basketball tournaments, the Fort Myers Tip-Off and Coconut Hoops, both featuring Power 4 teams and nationally ranked programs. Few places in the country can showcase this level of talent. We're proud that Fort Myers is one of them. Don't miss your chance for tickets. Go to visitfortmyers.com/basketball. Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
Todd and I are local. We're involved in our community. We live here, we work here, we're in our showroom every day. We love working with our guests. We love giving back to our community.
We are so excited about our new store. Same location, same team, new environment. Every day is like a grand reopening. Absolutely stunning when you walk through our doors now. Come experience the newness of the Diamond District. See what we've done.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 13325.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Good morning, Pat.
Good morning, fellas.
How are you?
I am doing well.
Are you in the Sunshine State, my friend?
Not yet. I am consumed by a number of things. When I tell you, couldn't get out of here early
Right.
Monday, and I don't like coming down like Wednesday and going back on Friday. And my one grandson's still playing football on Friday night, so I got
Okay.
another 2 weeks of that stuff. But I'm actually, if they make it looks like they're going to make the playoffs. They're undefeated, so they'll be playing on Friday night. So I'm just going to fly back on Friday mornings instead of Saturday mornings to watch them play. Although his games are on some kind of closed circuit TV thing now, so like I can't go to. David knows Jersey. They're playing Paramus Catholic tonight.
Oh.
Up there, so I get off the air at 7. There is no way I'm getting on the Garden State Parkway for a game that starts at 7. I wouldn't get there till 8:15.
Okay, before we go any further.
Yes, we need to get this out.
Well, did you get the tickets?
No.
Okay, did you get my text? Okay, that they said that you have to, I guess you signed in last year. Okay, this is what the Blade said to me. They are showing in his account. He just needs to log in.
Well, last year for the playoffs, they were the same thing for the playoffs. I went to the office and the girl, that Megan, I saw her name on that note from you.
Right.
She did it. I never did it. She just said, let me just go in the back and do this. And she logged me in. So I never really logged in. So I'm going to have to call Megan and find out what she did. I lose you?
No.
Oh, I think
Nope, I
there was
just
a freeze there.
now they're opening nights tonight, right?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow. I know her husband. Her husband works there too. He's a good guy. Actually, last year when she was logging me in, ironically, I was watching her baby. She goes, "Here, you watch the baby. I'll log you in." So
Okay, that's a good trade.
yeah, it was a good trade for her and me. Yeah, but because of that, when you say log in, I have no idea how she did it.
Gotcha.
So,
Okay.
I'll call Megan today.
All right.
So you're not even going to use them Saturday?
No, if I can get them, you want them. That's
yeah, I
another
do.
thing.
If you get them, and you can figure out, have Megan show you how to. If you got to send them to me somehow, that would be great.
Yeah, that I will try to do that today because I'm so pissed they don't have paper tickets. It's so easy with real tickets.
Yeah.
This and it was ridiculous.
Digital.
You would not believe during the playoffs last year how many people were. It was chaotic at the gate trying to get in.
I can imagine.
It's
Especially
so
in an older market like the 239. Yeah, I'm sure they loved the no paper ticket.
I also know as someone who, was in charge of that department for many years, what it costs to print season ticket books.
Yeah, well, I'm telling you, there were people that were so pissed, and they were. A lot of them tried to do it on their phone without printing paper tickets. And you would not believe how long the line was out of the building because they couldn't get people to cleanly come through. It was like now all of a sudden, instead of walking in, go through the metal detector and go in, the line was out the building and down the sidewalk, almost all the way down to the damn recreation thing. But that's here to there. Here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
We are halfway home on this Football Friday.
Football Friday.
At least in Jacksonville, Tampa, St. Pete, and Southwest Florida. Final hour of the show, Lake City, Live Oak, and surrounding areas, Port Charlotte, Venice, surrounding areas. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Pat Kirwan, kind enough to join us once again. Pat and all our guests joining us on the American Paint Supplies hotline. Pat's appearances are specifically sponsored by Pinchers, Tampa to Key West, all points in between. Pinchers, because you can't fake fresh. So
it's
Pat,
stone crab season, David. Pinchers, this is when I need Pat in studio. So Pinchers brings in a bunch of stone crabs and I can eat them with him. I am hankering for some stone crabs.
Well, as soon as I get back there, we will be in that room together. I like going over there on Friday mornings.
Just at APB, Pinchers. Don't leave me hanging during stone crab season.
No, and you know what? I owe it to you because you didn't leave me hanging when you were in the stone crab business.
Pat, apparently, if you're an old quarterback with no mobility, apparently you can still play a little ball in this league if you know where to throw it quickly, huh?
Yeah, well, a little. 47 pass attempts for the Flacco man, 342 yards and a couple of touchdowns. Where was the Steeler pass rush? They sacked him twice, but he threw 47 times. Any quarterback that's got a sack ratio of better than 1 every 20 the line's doing a fine job. And then they couldn't stop the run. I don't know. Did either one of you guys take the Bengals? Because I haven't found one. You did?
Yes. Actually, not only did we both take the Bengals and the points, I took them straight up. Because Mark, we were all over this because Mark had the Tomlin Thursday night stats. I had this is literally the Bengals regime under Zach Taylor that was on the line.
Pittsburgh has never won a road division game on a Thursday night. Tomlin's now 0-7. The Steelers are 0-9, Pat.
Yeah, I saw that too, but then I said that is Joe Flacco. Although Joe last week, the second half, he started to look like Joe. But we all did see the end of the Cleveland. How do you think Cleveland feels right now? They just don't get it when it comes to figuring out why is that guy not on your roster?
Mike Tomlin wishes he was still on the roster because they might have beat Browning last night.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this, Pat, and I don't want anybody to get confused. Joe Burrow is better than Joe Flacco. I get it. But could Joe Burrow learn something from how quickly Flacco gets rid of the ball? Because Burrow gets sacked a ton, and some of that has to be on him for holding the ball too long.
Absolutely. He is. And Joe Flacco, there's a reason he's still playing. Back to David's point about 40-year-olds. How do you get to 40 relatively healthy? Because you learned how to get rid of the ball. And I'll tell you the other thing about Joe Flacco. You see how tall he is in that pocket? He can find the shallow cross on that little third read, and he still gets rid of it fast doing it. But Joe, from the very day he came out of Delaware, was able to see over a lot of stuff and dump shallow cross balls all day long. So, okay, I think Joe just got himself another 2 years in the league.
Well, Pat, I don't want to go crazy here, but do you think the coaching staff in Arizona is watching last night's game and going, if we had Joe Flacco, we'd be in first place?
Probably, but you better ask Joe about going to Arizona.
I understand. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Okay. There's a couple teams that are watching an efficient, effective quarterback who knows what to do with the ball and going, wow, if we had that, you could flip our record.
You could. And let me ask you, would Miami be 1-5 with Joe?
Wow, that's a great question.
That
because
defense is pretty bad.
That defense is bad and that offensive line is awful. Pat, let's talk.
Last thing. Haven't we said for 100 times Cincinnati's got a bad offensive line?
True.
Yeah.
No, that's true.
That's true. But I don't think it's as bad as Miami's. I don't. David said earlier this week that he believes that a coach is getting fired based on the outcome of Miami and Cleveland. And David even said, we don't know if Cleveland does it, during the season. We think Miami would. Miami's a mess, but I had a texter and he's been all over me this morning because he's blaming Stefanski for everything. He says it's the whole organization, but Stefanski's getting, the pass, if you will. I know Stefanski, so I know you always stick up for him. But
I would love to see him fired so he can get out of there. He'll get another job so fast it's not funny. He needs to get out of there because it's not a fair shake what they've done with him. But that's not an excuse. The question's a good one. I don't think anyone's going to fire the coach right after the game, but I do think the final decision will come for one of these guys when they lose. It'll be like the owner's going to go, I've had enough. And then I think they'll decide that the guy's going to be done at the end of the season.
I think loser gets fired Monday. I really do. In my heart of hearts, I believe it. Because both owners like to play the PR game, which is part of the reason why they run their franchises so badly. Rams and Jags, let's assume no Puka. This is a toss-up, isn't it, without Puka?
Yeah, because of the frequency he gets the ball, 65 targets and all this stuff. He has one touchdown. Really? Is he one or two touchdowns? Yeah, I think it changes the complexity of the game because if you're not worrying about Puka, and I don't believe he's playing, then you can handle the other receivers any way you want, and you can blitz. I do think it changes who they are. The question is, do I trust the Jags? It's hard to love those guys. It's just hard to love them. Do you really believe that they could take advantage of this?
It's going to be a similar game to what they faced with Seattle. The Rams are a good run defense. The Jags want to run the football. They've got to figure out how to run it against a team that can do a good job stopping the run, Pat.
Yeah, and they also have two pass rushers at the Rams that can get in Trevor's face. Trevor 2 weeks ago ran the ball. We talked about it 10 times, changed the whole offense. Well, last week he went right back to the same old guy. Just couldn't get himself going, and he couldn't escape. He didn't learn a thing from the 10, and they should have put some structured runs in for him. The defense doesn't really know if you call a quarterback draw. You can make it look like he scrambled, but they blocked the draw. He needs to be forced into running a few times early so the defense is actually thinking about respecting the guy. I love Liam Cohn, but I would not let this guy, Mr. Trevor, just escape when he wants, because he doesn't have a great feel for it. And I would think that the Rams and those two guys that are rushing the passer down there in Ramland, those guys will be all over him. I have a hard time taking those guys, even though the Rams are wounded.
Might like the over-under in that game. It's 44.5. That seems high for no Puka on the Rams, and you figure Jacksonville will struggle to get to 20 against the Rams defense. All right, Eagles have lost 2 in a row. Vikings, tough to figure out who they are. They're seemingly a different team every week. It looks like Wentz is going to get the start, that McCarthy's not quite healthy enough. Eagles at Vikings.
Yeah, I think they've realized that Wentz probably provides a better opportunity to win than McCarthy, and they don't want to ever admit that. But Wentz is playing pretty good, and the playbook is more wide open. And I know Wentz to tell you this. He was a nervous wreck in Washington. We talked about it on this show. He is very relaxed, and maybe just being the backup is taking the edge off for him. But Philadelphia, they haven't rushed for 100 yards in 4 straight games. So who are they? Their core value was run the ball. And that included the quarterback running and, of course, Barkley. And 86, 88, 45, 73. That's 73 yards a game. So if they're not going to be the run team they're supposed to be, I don't know about them. I don't. Because when they try to be a passing team, it doesn't look very good. Minnesota was on a bye, so we forgot all about them, didn't we?
And I'm picking the Vikings in that game. I know it's a hunch. I know they're not favored, but I like Flores' defense, and I don't like what the Eagles are doing offensively. The Chargers, they beat Miami. I don't know if they should have. Now they're hosting Indianapolis.
Yeah, the wounded Chargers. And I've said this before, but it's getting worse. When you start realizing that now in the last 3 games, Herbert's been sacked 12 times and hit 41 times. Here's what I think about. I'm cheering for the Colts because I like Daniel Jones and I love what's going on. His sack ratio is 1 every 37. That is ridiculously good. They blocked for him. He's got the best running back by production right now in the NFL. He's got a terrific rookie tight end who you guys like to talk about, and I agree with you. But here's what's not said enough. They are fast on defense. Go watch what they're holding people under 20 points, and, of course, the comeback is, well, who have they played? The Chargers, to me, look like – now, if they get Khalil Mack back, that might help here. But I'm cheering for the Colts, and I'm picking the Colts because I do think the Chargers are wounded. Running backs are missing in action, and offensive tackles are missing in action, and Indy's pretty healthy.
By the way, can 2 things be true? Could the Giants have made the right move getting rid of Daniel Jones, but Daniel Jones also needed to go to a place like Indianapolis, and if he found it, he could be a good quarterback again? Because, Pat, let's be honest. At this time last year, Daniel Jones might have been the worst starting quarterback in the NFL. He was shot with that team in that city. You've coached and been a GM in that city. It happens to some guys. They just need to leave.
Yeah, Sam Darnold, Geno Smith. We have a whole list. It's a terrible place for a young quarterback. Daniel Jones, to me, first off, Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley are gone from New York, and they got nothing for him.
I know.
So there's the first place I'd like to discuss. Are you kidding me?
Hey.
You got nothing.
Don't get me started on Joe Shane. Don't.
Well, you don't want to get started because I don't think he's going anywhere.
I know.
So in Daniel Jones's case, he's athletic. He can run better than people think. He's kind of like a Joe Flacco thrower. He can see over a lot of stuff. They put a line in front of him. You can't get to him now. And all of a sudden, he's doing quite a nice job. I mean, is he this year's Baker Mayfield / Sam Darnold? Yep, that's who he is. And with each passing win, it's going to be harder for the Colts to sign him.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
This year during Thanksgiving week, Fort Myers takes the national stage, hosting not one but two elite women's college basketball tournaments, the Fort Myers Tip-Off and Coconut Hoops, both featuring Power 4 teams and nationally ranked programs. Few places in the country can showcase this level of talent. We're proud that Fort Myers is one of them. Don't miss your chance for tickets. Go to visitfortmyers.com/basketball. Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Mark, I'll call you today and try to get this solved here.
Okay. Yep. Yeah. It's I've got a buddy coming in town I haven't seen in a long time, and he used, when I worked for the Atlanta Knights way back when, he was a golf pro at Lake Lanier Hilton course.
Yeah,
and
I played that course.
That's how we became friends. Him coming to the games and me getting free golf.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
kind of fun to take him to an Everblades game.
Yeah. Well, if worse comes to worse, I might send you over to go get the tickets.
That's fine. If you need me to, I can do that.
Yeah. Because if I get Megan, hopefully it'll get solved. And then I'll be like, okay, now that I have them, now can I send this set to Mark?
And she'll probably be able to walk you through it.
That's what she did last time, but as I said,
Either that or your grandson will.
yeah, well, I live in fear of this whole season being on a freaking cell phone.
I know, because your wife goes to a lot of the games without you, right?
Yeah, when if I'm at the combine, she goes with her girlfriends.
Yeah.
That will not happen. I can tell you right now. She'll be like, "What's going on here?"
How long before she comes down?
It's November 3rd, and then she doesn't come back. She
Right.
stays. So November 3rd's coming quick here.
Yeah, it's
I was at the lake yesterday. I was at the lake yesterday and woke up. I said I better drive back down. Guess what the temperature was? 36.
That's so funny. My buddy in Oregon sent me a text yesterday, and he was like, but same thing. He was closing up they got a little summer place up there. And he's like, he was thinking about going fishing on the river, but it was 36 degrees. I'm like, man, you couldn't catch me in a river in the third. You're nuts.
Yeah.
He's one of those crazy fly fishermen that, puts waders on and goes in a damn river.
Yeah, no. I saw a guy in a boat fishing yesterday. There was no one on the lake but one guy, and he was fishing right in front of my house. So I'm doing the radio staring at the guy for 2 hours. Not once did he reel in anything. I go, the fish are not by the shoreline. They're out in the deep water low. They're already getting ready for winter. So when the lake freezes over, they're not frozen.
Used to do first day of fishing in Minnesota, and it was always freezing. It was,
Yeah.
barely above freezing, and the water was in the 30s, and everybody's out there because it's first day, big deal, but everybody's getting skunked.
Yeah, that's the desire to get going again. It's the ceremony. It's certainly not the fish.
Right.
I went ice fishing once when I was a kid because my grandfather had a place on the Saginaw Bay, and one time, and we didn't have a chance. Like, it was old school. You sat in a bucket in a hole.
Yeah,
it was the most miserable thing I'd ever done in my life.
So I do have two old buddies that they like to ice fish in front of my house. It falls off real fast, and I go, look, fellas, set up your tip ups and put them out there, and then go in my house with your binoculars and watch the tip ups and
Right.
drink.
That's how you fish with that. You're damn right, Pat.
And you take turns going out to see if I got something.
Exactly. Now you're talking.
Yeah. And I go, the house is never locked. Just walk in. You can sit and stare right at your tip ups, and there's a bottle of scotch. I don't drink scotch, and there's a bunch of it. You can have it. I can tell how much they went to the house when I get back in the spring. Yeah, ice fishing to me, that's not happening. It's boring.
Yes. Well, I'm like you. But you got to be in a boat, because when you're not catching fish, you know what you do? You move and you go somewhere else.
Yep, that's the whole deal, right there.
Any captain that sits on a hole and waits is a bad captain.
Right. You aren't kidding. And sometimes you only have to move 100 yards, but you better know where to stop.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. We get lazy sometimes, Mark. We don't even pull the anchor up. We hook the anchor onto the cleat in the back and drag it.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
Our remaining moments with Pat Kirwan from NFL Radio's Moving the Chains, weekdays 3 to 7, Saturdays 2 to 5. Sundays, he's part of CBS's NFL Today show. Pat joining us, courtesy of Pinchers, Tampa to Key West, all points in between. It's stone crab season at Pinchers, where you can't fake fresh.
All right, Pat. Sunday night, I'm really interested in this game. And usually by the time Sunday night comes, I've watched a college game on Friday night. I've been in front of the TV all day Saturday and all day Sunday. And if the Sunday game doesn't interest me, I just don't have the same zest for that game. But Atlanta's playing better. San Francisco, I'm waiting for them basically to implode with as banged up as they are. I think this is a really good opportunity for Atlanta. Am I nuts?
Well, that's a statement game. Kind of like the Colt thing. This is when you start to say that Atlanta's for real. Kittle's going to play again. That changes things. Here's the other team. I don't think they're in a very big rush to put Purdy back out there yet. They have the luxury of having a guy they think they can win with. And Mac Jones, I don't know how long he's going to be upright, because he looks like he's not 100% for sure. It's funny. We're going to wait for Purdy to be 100%, but we're not waiting for Mac Jones to be 100%. Go back out there. I still like San Francisco at home. Until McCaffrey's hurt, which I hope doesn't happen, I'm not ready to believe in Atlanta. I like them, but I don't love them.
Washington at Dallas. We all know about the rivalry. Washington's record is not as good as most thought it would be. 6 games into the season at 3-3. The Cowboys are an interesting, for the moment, 2-3-1 team. It's a really big game in the NFC East. How do you see it?
Yeah, everyone knows how bad Dallas's defense is. CD Lamb's coming back. It's a question of, can you outscore them? Washington's defense, I don't know. You guys tell me. they're not as good as they were last year.
No.
I don't like them that way. Old Dak loves playing Washington. He's got a great record against them. I would be inclined to take Dallas in this game, and I'm not a fan of Dallas.
Well, seeing Washington up close, and I'm going to see them like 2 more times, they don't have a pass rush.
That's right.
They can't get – I mean, Von Miller, love him, Hall of Famer, the whole deal. Yeah, they can't – when it's time to get after a quarterback, they can't do it unless they bring people. And if you bring people against Dak has always been great against the blitz. Not good, great against the blitz. And they've got receivers that, Lattimore's a mismatch against both those guys literally on every snap. I agree with you. You might have to score 40 to win this game if you're Washington.
Yeah, that's how I feel. And I'm looking at Jaden Daniels, and I know he's got people missing, McLaurin specifically, but I looked at his first 4 games last year versus the first 4 he's played this year because he's missed 2. And I'll tell you where it's fallen off. It's fallen off on completion percentage. That's probably McLaurin. He was at 62% last year. He's at 81%, but it's not going anywhere. He ran the ball better last year. In the first 4 weeks, that guy had 4 rushing touchdowns. He has none this year. So he is not running, and their protection's kind of shaky, and they don't have a lot of weapons. I think Dallas with CD back and the way George, whether you like George or not, the damn guy went to Dallas and he did what he was asked to do. Step up and take the place of CD when he was hurt. I'm with you. I'm going to take Dallas. By the way, Dak in his 11-2 record against Washington, he has 9 of those wins. He scored way over 30 points. I think he'll do the same thing again. 35, 25, something like that.
And their defense has been so bad, it has masked how well Dak has played this year. Dak has played excellent this year. Their defense is just awful, and people don't pay attention when you're not winning more games than you're losing. Do you see an upset this week? Do you see, Denver hosts the Giants, Green Bay goes to Arizona, New England goes to Tennessee, kind of a revenge game for Vrabel. Is there an upset, a team that most people aren't leaning on that you think is going to win this week?
Well, I'll give you Jim's first, and then you can laugh, or Dave might high five. He thinks the Giants can beat Denver. I do not.
No.
My upset, because it's an interesting point spread. I'm inclined to take Tampa Bay up in Detroit. Detroit's secondary is shot.
Yes, It is. But the receivers for Tampa Bay are all hurt.
And we just saw him play good without them. You asked for an upset. They're 5.5, 6-point underdog, and they're playing in Detroit. If I was forced to bet, I'd probably take that one.
Okay, I deserve all the grief that I'm about to get. Are we sure we can pick the Carolina Panthers on the road? I know they're playing the Jets, but do we have to review Carolina's performances so far on the road this year?
Well, how about the career of the quarterback? He's 1-17. He's 0-3 this year. He's 1-17 on the road. So Bryce played a little better. I'd have a hard time taking the Jets because of their quarterback. He's regressed.
Pat, one of the things you always talk about, and I looked it up this week, I know you know the stat, but back to Tampa Bay and Detroit. Yeah, Baker's rushed for 153 yards, and he's 3rd on the team. But more importantly, he's rushed for 11 first downs. I don't care about how many yards he's rushed for. How many first downs is he getting you? And he's averaging 2 a game right now. That's a big deal, Pat.
It is a big deal for me. And it always brings me right back to Tua, who has 1 first down this year and 11 in 3 years, Mark. To back up that number 11, the kid in Florida has 11 in 3 years. No, if you move for first downs with your feet, you're going to keep drives alive, and it's going to help you score. Yeah, and Baker, didn't he beat Detroit last time he played him?
Yes, he did. Lost to him in the playoff game the year before that by a score. But yes, they kind of hammed and egged the Lions 20-16, I believe, the last time they played them. Gave up a lot of yards, but not a lot of points. Dan kept going for it on 4th down and getting stopped.
I think what leans me into answering the upset question with Tampa is Todd Bowles. You know, you start looking at where their sacks are coming from, and they're all over the place. Safeties, corners, linebackers. He's a scheme guy, and he's not going to let Goff sit in there and have his way. And hopefully Vita Vey and the boys can slow the run game down. I love Detroit's run game. And I don't know, but you asked for an upset. That one looks to me like something I'd be interested in taking.
How live is Houston as a dog in Seattle? That Seattle defense was great against Jacksonville. The Houston offensive line's not very good, but Stroud's played better the last couple of weeks.
He has. I think Seattle is really an underrated team. I talk
agree.
to their coach every week. I like where the defense is right now. I love the way he's got Sam Darnold playing. Sam is really stepping right into this role. He's doing a nice job. They're forcing the ball into Walker's hands more. I just kind of think that Mike McDonald is one of those guys who, by the end, we might be talking about Coach of the Year.
And I'm with you on Walker. He's a stud, but he plays in Seattle, so no one's paying attention.
Yep. So I like them, and I like Sam Darnold. You know, Sam Darnold played Houston last year, clearly on Minnesota. He threw 4 touchdown passes, and I think Houston's got a very good defense. But not many guys throw 4 touchdown passes against Houston, and he did.
Well, we said it. It wasn't the sexiest team to talk about, but we said in our final 30 seconds, Seattle might have been the most interesting team in the league because they won 10 games last year and got rid of their quarterback and top 2 offensive weapons, and they think they'll be better. Who does that? And so far, it might be working.
Yeah, and it might put John up for GM of the year too, to make those kind of decisions and have this all work out the way it's working. But it's a long way to go.
Yep.
But you asked me about this game. Houston, like the defense, not so sure that I think Stroud and the boys on offense have fixed their problems.
He's Pat Kirwan, NFL Radio's Moving the Chain, CBS's NFL Today Show, joining us once again, courtesy of Pinchers. Let's talk the big differences between Floormeisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floormeisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floormeisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floormeisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floormeisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Got a cracked window or foggy glass? Don't wait for the next storm to make it worse. Your local Glass Doctor Home and Business is just down the road and ready to help. From leaky frames to shattered panes, we've got the tools and the know-how to get your home or business storm ready. With flexible scheduling and our done right promise, you'll be in good hands. So before or after the weather hits, call your neighbors at Glass Doctor.
Glass Doctor, Glass Doctor. Call the Glass Doctor, we fix your pains. Oh yeah!
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
This is Miller and Moulton.
David, I'm sure you did. Did you see the clip of Marchant and Bissonnette the other night?
Mm-mm.
Bissonet's wearing his, patch over his eye. And Marchant starts giving it to him right from the beginning. So Bissonet has to re-explain. And what did Bissonette say? He says, if your ears were as big as your nose, you might have heard what I said. I mean, and he's like, you really think you signed a 5-year deal? You really think you can play at 43? He goes, well, it's better than going in there and working with you. It is so good.
And no one's watching. Did you see Super 70s Sports yet this morning?
I did not.
I know you've seen this a bunch, so have I, but it's funny. It's Bob Uecker on Johnny Carson, and Johnny's looking at old St. Louis Cardinals team photos, and Uecker shows him the one with him and Bob Gibson holding hands.
So
and
great.
No one on the team recognized it, and they sent the photo out.
So great.
Well, that was like the Sports Illustrated cover back in the day with Zonka and Kick and whoever else, and both of them had their middle finger down, giving the finger to the camera, and they missed it, and they printed it on the cover of SI when that was a really big deal. Oh. Capri Man in Miami will be the Eagles offensive coordinator next year. Which will be funny. Mike McDaniel calling the offense and Vic Fangio calling the defense. Huh. Where have I seen that before?
So I had a little thing going on in my mouth to make sure it was nothing bigger. I had to go to an oral surgeon yesterday.
Right.
You want to talk about hating a human being. This oral surgeon walks in. He's like 6'2", 6'3", looked like he could be a movie star. Oh, yeah, by the way, he's an oral surgeon. Right. Really? 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 You got to be good looking, tall, and you're smart? F you. And he was really nice. And he was really nice, too. Unbelievable.
And you're rich and successful.
You bastard. I almost said it to him. I literally almost said, really? You're killing me.
No. Tell it.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. So it'll be the bonus hour on this Football Friday.
Football Friday.
Good college week. Could even argue very good college weekend. Got some nice rivalries, big conference showdowns. We got the Holy War. We got USC Notre Dame. We think USC is going to continue the rivalry. Don't know. It depends on what day you run into Lincoln Riley. We'll say if you're USC, this just in, you're in the Big Ten and you play Notre Dame every other year in South Bend. You got to start figuring out how to win games in the Central and Eastern time zone. You've won one in the last 13 years. This would be, by the way, if USC back-to-back beats Michigan and Notre Dame, hello. Does everybody back off Lincoln Riley? And next year's team is going to be better than this year's. Do we back off Lincoln Riley? They whooped Michigan, physically took it to Michigan in the fourth.
That's the big thing there, David.
Right.
They physically, this wasn't just passing the ball and having good receivers and beating them in a cute game.
Yep.
They beat them up front.
Yep.
Michigan couldn't run it.
And they couldn't stop it.
Right.
Yep. From USC. Just saying, just saying. But it's USC on the road. They lost to Illinois on the road. They're not good when they have to travel. And this just in, they're in the Big Ten. There's a decent amount of travel involved. They got to get over this hump. Even though this isn't a conference game, it's an annual game every other year at this place, Notre Dame. It's the season for the Irish. That's the other thing. While it's a big game for USC, technically USC could lose it and run the table. Now that would involve beating Oregon, and they'd be fine. They'd be 10-2 with the wins that they had. I think they'd make the playoff, actually. But this is it for Notre Dame. They lose, their season's over. Think about it. Mid-October, Penn State and Notre Dame could both be eliminated from playoff consideration. Wow.
There's no doubt. There's another game I want to talk about, and we have not given it an ounce of time, and it's not one team we never really talk about. You do because you think they're good and you like the coach. But Washington's at Michigan.
Yep.
And Michigan's a 4 or 5 point favorite. 4.5, actually. And, well, what if Michigan loses? How hot does the temperature get on Sharon Moore in Ann Arbor? And I don't think he's gone after this year. That's not what I'm saying. But they still have to play Ohio State. And I know, Michigan fan, you've beat them. I get it. Maybe you do again this year. But if Washington beats Michigan and you lose to the Buckeyes, that's 8-4. That's without screwing anything else up. You've got the quarterback. I think he can be really good. He has been wildly inconsistent this year. He's a freshman. I get it. I like him. But I have not loved their play calling. They just got done getting whooped up front against USC. And this Washington team, you saw them up close and personal. They kind of screwed that first half up against Ohio State. But they didn't seem to get beat up in the first half against the Buckeyes. They did in the second half.
Yeah, they lost their left tackle and their best defensive end pass rusher in that game to injury. And then when you leave points on the field against Ohio State, you have no shot. That was also the game that was the coming out party for saying. They literally were not letting him do anything in the first quarter. They let him do a little bit in the second quarter. And by the third and fourth quarter, they were like, you're comfortable, aren't you? You're ready. Okay, we're going to go to chapter 3 now of the playbook. Are you ready to run these plays? And they started hitting them. And that was when all of a sudden Ohio State's offense left that game and they're like, okay, we can trust the quarterback, we think. But getting back to Washington, they can't let the quarterback run. Ohio State did a phenomenal job. That quarterback is a dual threat. and he wasn't against the Buckeyes. Now, he made some nice throws from the pocket, and that's arguably the best secondary in the country. And Ohio State said, hey, congratulations. You're going to have to make 15 more just like it to have any shot of beating us. And you made like 4. And so Michigan, Mark, needs to make sure he's not a dual threat on Saturday, or they could be in trouble because you just said it. They're not a potent offense yet. They play kind of in the mid-20s. Well,
and who's the dynamic player in Ann Arbor? I mean, the quarterback has the ability to be one. Don't get me wrong. He's still a freshman. I don't see a great running back on that team. I don't see a great receiver on that team.
I don't see a great receiver. Okay. I will say the one running back seems to take it to the house with regularity. But no, I do think they need an upgrade. I do. And listen, Michigan, I know they just won a natty and they won 3 straight Big Ten titles an hour and a half ago. I know that, but their weaponry is making it so that their margin of error is a lot closer than I think you want it to be.
And because they don't have it, and Haynes is the running back you're talking about, who's had a bunch of touchdowns and a bunch of long runs. So maybe he is special. But when you don't have a threat on the outside, you can put 8 in the box and stop the running game, or at least slow it down. So it's just a game that I'm paying attention to. Noon, it's a 9 a.m. start for Washington. That's going to be fascinating to see if they are ready to go early. But, now if Michigan gets this, they got 3 cupcakes after that. They play Northwestern, Purdue, and Sparty. They should kick the crap out of all 3 of them before they finish at Maryland, who's pretty good, but they can't seem to figure out a way to win. They blew games against Nebraska, and they blew a game against Washington. So, they're good, but they're not finishing before they get the Buckeyes. So if they win this game, Michigan's going to have a nice season. They are probably going to be a 9-3 team. Nothing wrong with that. But if they lose this game, I think the temperature gets a little hotter in Ann Arbor heading into next year.
Well, you could see where, unless they beat Ohio State again, that the Michigan faithful are going to be looking at Sharon Moore going, hey, we need more, pardon the pun, than what you're delivering right now. We do. We look around, we see numerous other teams better than us in the Big Ten. That shouldn't be. We shouldn't be looking up at this many schools. And Mark, you hit on it. I think they need offensive weaponry. First off, they need the quarterback to develop and get to the next step.
But they got to get him some guys to help him develop.
Yes, it would help. Where are the terrific Michigan wide receivers that were there in the 90s and the 2000s and even into the early teens? Where are they?
Does South Carolina have a puncher's chance at home against Oklahoma? Mateer did not do well last week. So when's Beamer going to get a good, tough schedule for the Gamecocks? But when are they going to get their upset? Is that this week?
I thought about taking them. What is it, 5.5? You can get the Gamecocks at home in 5.5.
Yeah.
Okay. Oklahoma, by the way, what did I see the stat? They haven't scored more than 2 offensive touchdowns in an SEC game, period, since they've been in the conference. That even when they had the 24-3 win last year, they had a non-offensive score. I thought I saw that stat this week, Mark, that in a year and a half in the SEC, Oklahoma in a conference game has not produced more than 2 offensive touchdowns in a game.
I thought pretty hard about taking the Volunteers in the 8.5 too. Just
boy, they haven't won there since 2003.
I'm not saying they're even going to win. It's 8.5.
Alabama's top running back is likely out. But boy, do you think Tennessee can stop that quarterback and those 3 receivers?
No, I don't. But I think Tennessee can score on Alabama. Vanderbilt was scoring on Alabama. I mean, they played them tough for 3 quarters and moved the ball.
Missouri made some plays and the quarterback missed some plays. You got enough faith in the Tennessee quarterback? I don't.
I didn't play it. I mean, I thought about it. I said I thought about it. I didn't play it.
I think they would need an effort every bit as good as the one they gave against Georgia to cover. Never mind win. I think to cover.
And you brought it up about the teams that are good against the point spread for the year. Texas Tech, one of those teams. But the Arizona State quarterback back for the Sun Devils this week, it's 7.5 on the road. Texas Tech has looked really good this year. Can they continue it on the road? And that's not an easy place to play in that conference.
Well, and their quarterback got banged up last week. Texas Tech's quarterback did. Now, the backup came in and put 3 touchdowns on the board in the second half, and they were playing Kansas at home. But I would want to know the status also of the Red Raiders starter in this game on the road. I think it makes a difference. But remember, Texas Tech went to Utah and won by 3 scores.
And physically beat the crap out of them. I mean, Utah, who we always think is, if they're not the best team in the Big 12, that's fine. But when you think of who's the most physical team in the Big 12, most everybody's going to answer Utah. And Texas Tech let them know that they're every bit, if not more physical than the Utes. That was an impressive win to me.
It's a very good college football weekend. A couple upsets would probably make it a great one. But on paper, a lot of good matchups. By the way, we mentioned them big picture, but South Florida is ranked in the top 20. And they're 3 touchdown favorites at home this weekend. And then it's Memphis, not too long after that, Navy. And can the Bulls and Mr. Golish make their way into the conference championship game, which would then be for the automatic spot in the playoff?
And Miami fan, we all know that when you get good, you get loud. You do. You tell us all the time that you're a Miami fan. Only when they're good, of course. Well, Lee Sterling made a great point this morning. When you're a top 5 team, those point spreads get inflated a little bit because people like to bet the favorites. So tonight, 12.5 against Louisville, who was supposed to be one of the sneaky good teams in the conference. They've not necessarily lived up to expectations, but they circled this one. What do they bring to Miami tonight? Fascinated to see how the Canes perform. Their defense is great. That receiver, that freshman, should still be in high school. Would have been a 5-star. Ended up being a 3-star. You know what? They were wrong. Add 2 more stars. He's legit. And if Carson Beck has time, he can pick anybody apart.
It's a foregone conclusion that the winner of the American is going to get the group of 5, which I guess now is group of 6, automatic spot in the playoff. I will say this. UNLV is unbeaten. Now, they're a 12-point dog and then some at Boise tomorrow afternoon. But if the Fighting Mullins can go to the blue turf and get a W, UNLV will raise their hand. A, they'll probably get ranked. And B, they'll raise their hand and go, what if we put a donut on the board, boys? Because here's what's looking better. What did UNLV do early in the season, Mark?
They beat UCLA, David.
And so UCLA is winning games not for themselves, but potentially for UNLV.
Here's the problem, though. Whether it's South Florida or Memphis or Tulane or whomever. See, South Florida beat Boise.
Yep. They did.
So
they did. And they pounded them.
And
now it was at home.
There's nothing left on UNLV's schedule I don't know if they play a team with a winning record the rest of the season. So there's no win for them to further their point. They're going to have to win at Boise, where you already mentioned they're a 12.5-point dog, and then run the table. Miller and Moulton. We'll go through the NFL schedule next in the bonus hour.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. capecops.com. Be brave, be best. Be Cape.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it
For
real.
over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to nolanagency.com. That's 941-639-1122 or nolanagency.com.
When Glass Doctor replaces your windshield, we don't just send you on your way, we send you off protected. Your local Glass Doctor includes the industry's only 12-month windshield protection plan at no extra cost. That means unlimited chip repairs and even a one-time replacement if needed. High-quality service backed by real peace of mind, right here in your neighborhood.
Glass Doctor, Glass Doctor. Call the Glass Doctor, we fix your pains. Oh, yeah.
Exclusions apply. See your local Glass Doctor for details.
Football season is back, and celebrate your game day with Jimmy the Beef Guy. We're talking tender, juicy Chicago beef sandwiches. Whether your party's for 10, 100, or 200, bring game day to your house with Jimmy the Beef Guy. The catering packages come with the beef, the gravy, the peppers, the bread, everything you need. 2 convenient locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. Skip the ordinary and bring the beef. Jimmy the Beef Guy, Chicago flavor, Southwest Florida style. Call today or visit jimmythebeefguy.com. Tell him Miller and Moulton.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Holy mackerel. God. Man, I hadn't seen this in a while.
What's that?
They're showing 2 minutes of Gotti and Ward from their first meeting, I think it was. Golly.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the bonus hour on this Football Friday
Football Friday.
in Jacksonville, Tampa, St. Pete, and Fort Myers, Naples. Miller and Moulton. MillerandMoulton.com. Miller_Moulton on X. NFL got off to another good start on a Thursday night. Remember when these games sucked? Remember when they were so bad? Al Michaels was complaining while broadcasting them. Not anymore. A lot of division games on Thursday, a couple of decent matchups in and around it, and division games usually deliver. And another upset, another home team winning as an underdog, with the Bengals getting the last laugh against the Steelers 33-31, which leads us into this week in the NFL. Our picks straight up. Miller and Moulton both had good weeks last week. I picked up a couple games on Mark. Picked up a game last night on Mark. All right, let's go.
All right, we start Sunday morning. Very simple. It's the Jags and the Rams. I'm going Jags. No Puka, no Rams win. Give me the Jags straight up.
I'm going the Rams. Their defensive front will force a mistake. That is the difference in a very close game. If, and we very rarely do we include an over-under in our, 5 picks, Elite 8, whatever. I love the under in the Rams-Jags game. It's 44.5. I don't know if the winning team gets to 24.
I think you're on to something there. All right, New England is at Tennessee. Tennessee fired their coach. We all know Vrabel was the coach in Tennessee. There's no one really left in this regime for him to still hate. It doesn't matter. Patriots are winning at Tennessee.
Yes, they are. And that would be a 3-game road winning streak back to back to back. Bills, Saints, Titans.
David already took Chicago and laid the point, so we know he's taking the Bears at home against New Orleans. I am as well. I think this game might be a little closer than you think, but the Bears are the better team here. I mean, you and I have had the Saints on the clock since July.
And I still think there's a chance that they pick first overall, despite the Jets' best efforts.
Miami at Cleveland. Loser leaves town match. We think regimes are on the line. Well, we know McDaniel's fired. It's just a matter of when. Stefanski, he's probably gone too, no matter what happens the rest of this year. But, oh boy, I'm
Okay.
taking. Okay.
Hold on. I'll just last minute weather report. 30 to 60 mile an hour winds during the game in Cleveland. Does that impact your pick at all?
No, because I'm taking Cleveland. They don't need to throw it to beat Miami. They're going to run it right down their throat. Give me the Browns.
Are the Browns really better than the Dolphins? Have the Dolphins sunk that low?
Let me just ask you this question. We already know whose defense is much, much better. It ain't close, by the way. You think now that you've got 30 to 60 mile an hour winds, you know, Mr. I can't throw it deep, Tua's going to start hitting receivers now? I mean, unless Waller's going to have a night like Chase had last night, I'll take the Browns. But I didn't say Waddle because he'll drop too many. Or he might get hurt at some point during the game.
Oh, look at you off the top rope about Jalen Waddle. I'm going to take the Dolphins. I obviously don't feel good about it. I do think their roster is better. The Browns defense, though, is the best unit in the game. I probably should take it, but I don't know. Give me Achane and Waller, and they 17-16.
Carolina at the Jets. I think I know where you're going here, and I'm a little ticked off because I thought I was going to do this and be the lone wolf out of the two of us. It ends for the Jets. The Jets get the win. Carolina's horrible on the road.
This is how horrible they are on the road. They're not just 0-3. They've been outscored 95-45. That's 32-15. How many NFL games do you know that are determined by 17 or more points? I know Carolina's the better team. I know Carolina is the better quarterback.
And right now, better coach. They do.
Yeah. But man, tough to lose 7 in a row in the NFL. I'm going to take the Jets. I'm holding my nose. By the way, if Carolina wins, that's a 3-game winning streak. And if Detroit beats Tampa, they're a game out of first.
Philadelphia at Minnesota. Probably, well, it's for sure the best 1 o'clock game. Might be the best game of the day.
Give me the Vikings because Wentz is going to play. Therefore, they're going to score points. And until the Eagles can start running the ball consistently, I don't think they'll be the Eagles again. Give me the Vikings.
I'm with you because the Philadelphia Eagles offensive line is not what it was just a year ago. Love Flores as the D coordinator. I think they do enough to get a close win at home. Vegas at Kansas City. I mean, is Vegas going to do anything this year? I don't think it's this week. The Chiefs are playing well right now. I'll take Kansas City.
Mark, we all like Pete Carroll, and we all think Pete Carroll can still coach at a high level. They have the worst roster in the division. Period. End of sentence. I don't know how you overcome that. And you certainly don't overcome it on the road at Arrowhead against the Chiefs when they're getting their number 1 wide receiver back after the opening 6-game suspension. This is game number 7.
Giants at Denver. Pat Kirwan said his co-host Jim Miller is taking the Giants in an upset. I will say, there's one part of this game that I'm interested in. I'm taking Denver for the record. But you pointed it out before the season, and it's been true so far. The Giants can get to the quarterback with 4. Bo Nix has played a handful of good quarters this year. Can he hit his receivers when the Giants are able to get a pass rush with 4? I do like Bo Nix's legs, however. He runs enough and gets first downs and moves the chains. Give me Denver in a game that might be a little closer than you think.
I'm not sure Jackson Dart finishes the game. And he looks like he's tough. But that offensive line, which is playing better with Thomas back in, is not up to the Broncos' defensive front. Dart's going to be running a lot. He takes a lot of hits. Without Neighbors, they don't have a weapon that can challenge that excellent Broncos defense.
Best in the league.
And so I just don't think the Giants are going to score points. And I do think that the Giants secondary is the worst unit on the field, and Denver finds a way to make one or two pass plays. Denver does not get upset by the Giants.
Indianapolis at the Chargers. This is just a hard game for me to pick, David. This is a hard game for me to pick because the Chargers didn't do anything special in beating Miami. After all, it was Miami. They're moving up in weight class this week, but they're at home. And I don't look at Indianapolis as a team that's traveling all kinds of people where a lot of Chargers games are 50-50. I'm holding my nose because I am still angry with the Chargers, but I'm going to take them at home.
Remember, the Colts have already played in this stadium this year. Their one loss was to the Rams. And that was when the guy caught the bomb and he was going in for the score and he dropped it, crossing the goal line, or they're probably undefeated. The Chargers are too banged up. And Indianapolis, Mark, is the capital of the sports world right now. I mean, just face it. So give me the Colts.
Indianapolis is not Bloomington or West Lafayette in basketball. Slow your roll over there. Washington at Dallas. I think McLaurin's playing. I think that's going to be the difference. I'm going to take Washington on the road, despite the fact that Dak is great against Washington.
Yeah, I'm going to take Washington as well. I just think they're the better team, and I think the team understands how important this game is. A loss drops them to 3-4 and in third place in the division.
Green Bay at Arizona. Do you give the Cardinals any chance at all?
Yeah,
I don't.
I do. There's a good roster. They play for that coach, but the quarterback's not any good, and they should be making a lot more plays offensively than they are. So I'm going to take the Packers, but yeah, I think Arizona's a salty team despite having lost 4 in a row.
Atlanta at San Francisco Sunday night. You heard me talk to Pat. I'm super intrigued by this game. Boy, San Francisco's banged up. And I think without the pass rush that San Francisco has with all their players, with the linebacker out, I think there are opportunities for Atlanta. Bijan Robinson's terrific. London's a good player. I'm taking Atlanta on the road.
It is tough for me to have faith in the Falcons on the road after the 30-0 clunker in Carolina. They've just won back-to-back home games against two teams that we thought are pretty good. They were in the conference championship games a year ago in Buffalo and Washington. But I'm going to take San Francisco. They get Kittle back. They get one of their wideouts back. I'm going to take the Niners to tough one out at home.
All right, we got 2 Monday night games to get to, and we got to do it quickly. Tampa Bay or Detroit? We'll break them down on Monday. Who's going to win?
Detroit, they have more weaponry.
They're at home. It's more important. They need this game. I like them as well. Houston at Seattle. Seattle's defense is great. I'm taking Seattle at home.
Yeah, the Texans' offensive line. I know they've played better the last 2 weeks. I like Seattle at home.
Yeah, they haven't played a team like this yet with that offensive line. This defensive line is really, really underrated. So those are our picks. NFL straight up. David has me by 2. It looks like we differ on 4 games this week as I try to make my comeback. Miller and Moulton.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Let's talk the big differences between Floormeisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floormeisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floormeisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floormeister's prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floormeisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Think we only fix windows? Think again. Your local Glass Doctor Home and Business does so much more to upgrade your home. We custom build stunning shower and bath enclosures, install sleek glass doors and windows, and can bring fresh life to foggy or cracked panes. Need a glass tabletop or a statement mirror? Yep, we do that too. If it's glass and it's in your home, we're the team to call.
Call the Glass Doctor, we fix your pains. Oh yeah.
This is Miller and Moulton.
I had to. I don't post much on social media, but with the passing of Ace Frehley, I did post the picture. I believe I'm in 3rd grade. My cousin's going as a football player. I'm going as Ace Frehley. Mom did the makeup. Fine job.
Jesus is back.
David, hard to see, but this is circa, I believe, 3rd grade Halloween.
Nice.
Oh, yeah. Kiss Army, baby.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. We're beginning to turn for home on this Football Friday.
Football Friday.
Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. NLCS could end tonight. Dodgers up 3-0 on Milwaukee. Right now, $20. Jays and Mariners tied at 2. No home team has won a game. We know the series is going back to Toronto for at least a game 6. Who would you put your money on, Jays or Mariners?
I'd put it on the Jays. And not because the road teams have been winning. I just think they're the better team. I'm rooting for the Mariners. I'd love to see them get to a World Series. I really would. But the Mariners may have given us a little bit of fool's gold because Detroit didn't hit for 6 weeks. So maybe that pitching wasn't as good as we thought it was because of their level of competition. And I mean, the Jays are hitting and their best players are hitting the baseball.
Well, although Cal Raleigh's hitting it too for Seattle. But yeah, right now, Toronto's lineup, which listen, Seattle's lineup was better in games 1 and 2. The last 2 games, obviously, big edge Toronto. But I'm still on the Mariners. You know, I wanted a Milwaukee-Seattle World Series. One team's never been there. The other team's never won it, as the Brewers, and hadn't been in 43 years. Mark, I will say this. If you're right, and it's Toronto and the Dodgers, Toronto has home field by a game. 94 regular season wins to 93. If it's Seattle, the Dodgers have home field 93-90.
I will say if it ends up being Toronto and the Dodgers, and I know, either way, no one cares about the American League team from the standpoint of a national market, and one team being Canadian, but that is, there's still some old sentimentality towards Montreal, but I worked in pro hockey a long time. It didn't matter where you were from in Canada, unless it was Quebec. They all nationwide, they love the Jays.
Yes, they do.
They love them in Manitoba. They love them in British Columbia. They love them in Alberta. And they sure as hell love them in Ontario.
It's ironic that it is Toronto and Seattle in this sense, because you're right, Mark. Western Canada, which is divvied up in hockey, is not divvied up in baseball. And they infiltrate Seattle during regular season games in droves to see their team play. But
I mean, they're starting to hit. Their best players are producing. Vlad's hitting damn near 500 in the playoffs. God, he would take one up and in from me. I love him. And I have no problem with a celebration in baseball. If you don't want the guy to celebrate, here's an idea. Get him out.
Right. I'll say this.
But Vlad is over the top. His home run trot last night that made it 6-2. I mean, it's like he hit a 3-run game-winning home run. And he's taken an hour and a half to get around the bases. I'm telling you, I may not hit him with the first pitch, but I'm moving that big man off the plate. I'm telling you right now, it is up and in tight.
It's funny. Yesterday was the 40-year anniversary of Jack Clark taking Tom Niedenfuer deep to win the pennant for the Cardinals in Game 6. All right. And Jack Clark takes 50 seconds to round the bases. It is the slowest trot you've ever seen. Okay. The stadium's gone silent. Okay. He shoved it up there. You know what? Because they should have walked him. It was second and third, 2 outs, top of the 9th. Dodgers clinging to a 1-run lead, and they didn't pitch to a young Andy Van Slyke. I think he was a rookie. And instead, they challenged Jack Clark, clearly the biggest stick in the Cardinals lineup. He hits the first pitch 30 rows up into the pavilion and takes forever to round the bases, looking into the Dodgers dugout for 15 of those seconds at Tommy Lasorda. Like, are you the biggest idiot in the world?
I'm sorry, David. I didn't celebrate the 40th anniversary of that yesterday, and I apologize. Who did he hit it off of?
Tom Niedenfuer, the closer of the Dodgers, and that's important because Game 5 was the game when Ozzie Smith, who rarely homered in the bottom of the 9th off Tom Niedenfuer to win it when Jack Buck said, "Go crazy, folks, go crazy."
Tom Niedenfuer.
Closer for the Dodgers.
No, I got you.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Brought the heat.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm looking it up. I got to look this guy. I have no idea who Tom Niedenfuer is. And you're speaking to us like we remember him the same way we remembered Louis Tiant.
No, I was just talking about slow home run trots, and he was just a part of it. That's all.
97 saves for Tom Niedenfuer in his career, for what it's worth.
Yeah.
Appeared in nearly 500 games.
Don't know what to tell you. In the mid-80s,
No,
he was their closer.
I'm helping the audience now. You know who he is. I'm just
right.
Thomas Edward Niedenfuer.
It was supposed to be Steve Howe. He was snorting coke. They had it turned to somebody else. It was Tom Niedenfuer.
He's 66.
Okay.
From St. Louis Park, Minnesota.
Shouldn't have pitched to Jack Clark. I don't know what to tell you. That's all. Jack has only recently touched home. That's how slow it went. That's all I'm saying.
Gotcha.
You worried about the Canes tonight?
No.
At home?
No, I'm not.
So nobody's worried that this Mario Cristobal guy is going to screw this team up, Because
if he were to screw one up, it's this one or Pitt, David.
Louisville's dangerous.
You're right.
But Miami 13.5-point favorite tonight.
I mean, Louisville can move the ball a little bit. They can score a little bit.
Uh-huh.
But the Miami defensive front is legit.
Yep.
Louisville's not seen anything like this up front.
I will say Brahm is a tremendous play caller, tremendous scheme guy. I'll bet you Louisville scores points in the first 20 minutes of this game. And I don't mean a touchdown. I actually think for the first scripted plays, okay, Brahms got something for the Canes. Then they got to block them. Then it becomes a problem.
By the way, just curious on that note then. If you're Louisville and you win the toss, do you take the ball? Everybody today defers. I mean, that's what they all do. But if you're right, I'm with you. I'd want the ball and see if I could put some pressure on Miami by getting the first score. Make them play from behind. They've not done that.
Right. And their offense, is it capable of? Probably, but we haven't seen it. So I'd want to put them in that position. I'd love for them to throw the ball instead of run it. If they're running the ball, we're losing. That means they're in the lead and they're running it down our throat. I want Carson Beck throwing the ball over 35 times if I can.
So that's tonight. Canes in Louisville. Tomorrow, Napier's last stand.
Yes, it's over. Okay, just like Ron Zook. He's losing his job after playing Mississippi State. The only question is, does he lose to Mississippi State like the Zookster, or does he win and he gets to do the alma mater and the band plays and then hand in his keys? Let's talk the big differences between Floormeisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floormeisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floormeisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floormeisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floormeisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Cape Coral Police Department is growing and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000 depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to CapeCops.com. CapeCops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to NolanAgency.com. That's 941-639-1122 or NolanAgency.com.
This is Miller and Moulton.
So I ran across a video they will show sometimes of Gen Xers showing basically our childhood of the bikes that we rode and the toys we played with. And I was showing it to my daughter. And Eve's watching it too. And she's like, oh, they got to have the big wheel on there. And of course they did. But they had the wind-up Evel Knievel motorcycle. And it's like, it showed, our hero, which all took us to jumping things on our bike. And I'm laughing because we did. That's what we did. And my daughter's like, you didn't really do that. I'm like, all of it. Every single bit of it. No helmets. We didn't even know what they were. No seatbelts. Because it started out with basically your mom taking you home from the hospital, holding you in the car. I mean, Parents have no idea. You know, your daughter had to strap in those grandkids in those car seats or they wouldn't let you leave. Our moms were in the front seat holding the kid in their arms, taking it home. It's just hysterical to me. Now she wants more videos from the 70s. It's awesome. Exactly. Exactly, EB. The green machine was better than the big wheel. I think the green machine had that side brake so you could spin out a little better.
Oh, I love the big wheel. I used to ride those tires out.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, like my neighborhood had cement. There, you know, like everyone, you know, if you got that patch of asphalt or the driveway that was smooth, you could do some damage.
Welcome to the bonus hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
This is it. Final segment of the show of the week. 22 minutes before the hour. On this Football Friday.
Football Friday.
Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. So it's National Pasta Day. And we asked you to pick the pasta dish that you like the best. And my guess is you're going to go with spaghetti and meatballs. Come on, that's not really your favorite pasta dish, is it?
Out of the four up here, it's not even close. Spaghetti and meatballs, lasagna, fettuccine alfredo, and ravioli. I love spaghetti and meatballs. Love.
Well, you and Aikman.
Well, I mean,
Man,
I know when you're getting ragu, it's not the same thing.
You know what? That's a cheap shot, but I deserve it because I'm like, well, what sauce have you had recently that wasn't ragu?
Thank you. Thank you.
It's that time again, nearing the end, but not quite there yet. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
All right. We start in 1777. The Battle of Saratoga.
Yeah. Love it.
John Burgoyne, general from the Brits, surrendered 5,000 troops to General Gates at Saratoga today in 1777.
The French secretly helped us. And then when we won, it was our first big win of the Revolutionary War. And once we got it, the French said, okay, we're in. They recognized our independence, which no other major country had done. And they said, you need help? We'll send you some help. Yeah, it was on then.
1814, the London beer flood. A vat burst at the Moe & Company brewery, which flooded the city streets with 300,000 gallons of ale. It killed 8, and this is the only reason I put it on, with a possible 9th later from alcohol poisoning. So the flood killed 8, but from the sounds of it, one SOB tried to drink his way through it.
Well, I can't get off the couch. Can you give me that mug over there?
That guy's my guy right there. That away. Good try. Good try by you. 1860, the first British Open was today. Willie Parks Sr., your winner, over Tom Morris Sr. by 2.
I can't believe my guy Tom Morris got beat. My money was on him and his kid later on.
The Bank of Italy, now known as Bank of America, was founded today in San Francisco in 1904. RCA was created as a subsidiary of General Electric today in 1919. The Decatur Staleys, you know them better as Chicago Bears. They played their first game in the American Professional Football Association today, beating the Rock Island Independents. That was in 1920. Today in 56, the chess game of the century, David. 13-year-old Bobby Fischer defeats the U.S. champion David Byrne.
Man, that's tough.
Right.
He's barely a teenager. Man.
The film Jailhouse Rock, starring Elvis, premiered today in 57.
I thought you were talking Schoolhouse Rock.
The Beatles made their live television debut today in Manchester's local show People and Places program. They debuted their new single, Love Me Do, today in 62. Today in 71, the Pirates beat the Baltimore Orioles 2-1 to win the championship in 7. Clemente, your MVP.
The irony, 8 years later, the Pirates and Orioles play in the World Series, and the Pirates win in 7 in Baltimore, and the final score was 2-1.
It was actually 4-1. That was coming up later. 1972, unless my information's wrong. I've got it right here in front of me, and you know what? I looked it up.
Well, then you're probably right. I know Stargell homered off McGregor in the 7th to give him a 2-1 lead. I thought that held up, but I could be wrong.
Today in 1972, Chuck Berry reached number 1 with the song entitled My Ding-a-Ling. Yep, that's right. Yankees repeat as champions today in 78, beating the Dodgers in 6. Bucky Dent is your MVP. President Carter signs legislation creating the Department of Education today in 70. Also today in 79, Whitley Starger is the MVP because the Pirates beat the Orioles, but David already told you about that.
Sorry. I didn't know it was today.
88. The Traveling Wilburys release their album Volume 1. Roy Orbison, Bob Dylan, George Harrison, Jeff Lynne, and Tom Petty. It was today in 89 that a 6.9 magnitude earthquake in San Francisco would lead to the cancellation of the third game of the World Series. It would kill 67 people.
Al Michaels was nominated for an Emmy for live news coverage for how he handled the events that night. He was very familiar with the city of San Francisco. So when they showed all the aerial shots,
because they had the blimp,
Al was able to let people know what part of the city and what have you. And basically, Peter Jennings was throwing it to Al Michaels to get his information, who would throw it back to Peter so that he could like sip some water. He should have won an Emmy. He was spectacular.
The great Canadian band, the Tragically Hip, lost their lead singer today. Gord Downie died at the age of 53 after a battle with cancer today in 2017. The playwright Arthur Miller, Rita Hayworth, Don Coryell, Evel Knievel, George Wendt, Fred Hickman, and Norm Macdonald would have all celebrated birthdays today.
Wow.
That is one hell of a list.
That sure is.
Michael McKeon, Lenny from Lenny and Squiggy, also from Spinal Tap fame, he's 78. Kenny Morrow, Olympic gold medalist, 4-time Stanley Cup winner. He's 69 years old today.
Broke my heart. Kenny Morrow. Overtime goal, game 5, which was the deciding game, Rangers Islanders in 84. He scored it in overtime. Broke my heart.
Country singer Alan Jackson is 67. Mike Judge, who created Beavis and Butthead, he's 63. Ziggy Marley, 57. Ernie Els, 56. And Detroit's own Eminem is 53 years old today. What did I miss, David?
Well, a couple of things I just want to throw out there. Would it be out of line if some of us of a certain age went through today going,
Not really.
No.
I remember seeing, because I was, you and I were both night. I was of the age where they had liquid television on MTV. Before Beavis and Butthead, they had a cartoon show or an animated show, Liquid Television. That's where the original Beavis and Butthead shorts were on. And they did frog baseball, where they were throwing frogs to pitch, and Beavis and Butthead were splattering them with baseball bats.
I was never really into the show, but
I loved it. I thought it was great. I did. I'll take that one. I'll own that all day long.
Did you have Capone today?
I did not.
Today was the day we convicted Capone of tax evasion. Sentenced to 11 years. Okay. He had finagled it where he was getting a cush deal. When the feds found out that basically where we sent him, they were taking care of him, they then sent him to Alcatraz. That's where he finished it out. He got sick while in prison. Never really, when he got out after 8 years for good behavior, he went to Palm Island, Florida, and lived out his remaining years in bad health. But we got Capone today in 1931.
Time to see life a little bit differently. Here's Mark Miller with the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
For the good today, we go to Fort Myers Beach, Florida, where wildlife officers have reported a record-breaking season for sea turtle nesting along Florida. Increases in both leatherback and loggerhead nests. Had a fun year before my daughter was born. A couple of years, my wife and I, when we were still doing afternoons, we had a part of the beach that we would walk every morning to discover sea turtle nests and then mark them and all that stuff. And then when they hatch, do all that. So love the sea turtle nesting. Great that they're having strong seasons with the sea turtles. They're kind of important. For the bad, we go to California, where a family adopted a foster cat. And that cat was a feral cat. And it was used to hunting for dinner. Well, Mom took the dogs out. And when she came back, the cat, she said, was acting suspicious. So she checked the security cameras in the house to see the cat carry a mouse in from outside and literally drop it in the pot that she was cooking dinner in. Fortunately, they had takeout. Finally, the ugly, we go to Pinellas Park, Florida, where a neighborhood said a man went on a late night rampage, naked and destructive. Video captured from backyard showed the man walking through the yards, exposing himself. He did ring a doorbell. Neighbor David Dale opened the door and said there was a guy standing there, and he was stark naked. Police identified the subject as Joshua Garrison. He did some damage to homes and cars, throwing potted plants through truck windows. Fortunately for Joshua, police got him before he ended up at one of the houses because when interviewing the neighbors, one of the neighbors said, "We're all Second Amendment people around here. We'll shoot you." He got lucky I didn't wake up. That is the good, the bad, and the ugly. Today, Friday, October the 17th, here on Miller and Moulton, brought to you by the Cape Coral Police Department. Cape Coral Police Department hiring new officers. Great pay, great benefits, a great signing bonus. Where do they go to get more information, David?
CapeCops.com. CapeCops.com.
You know the chief of police loves that.
Wow.
Like, he texts me at least twice a week and says he just laughs his tail off when he hears you do that.
Here we are talking about great place to work, salaries between 74 and 90,000. You get a $10,000 signing on bonus and what have you. What are you going to remember from the ad? CapeCops.com.
The most important part of the ad,
Right.
where you go to get the information.
Hey, your Red Wings hosting the Lightning tonight. One of 4 games in the NHL, 7 o'clock.
Wings are off to a really good start. Played like crap in the first game. They've won 3 straight, and they've played pretty well.
I will be rooting for your Wings Sunday when I watch them in person. I'll be rooting for McDavid to score twice and for the Wings to win. How about that Sunday?
Wow, look at you.
Take that?
I like it.
College football tonight. There's 4 games, and one of them is one of those awful Mountain West CBS Sports Network deals. So we got Louisville and Miami, 7 o'clock ESPN. Canes a 13.5-point favorite. 8 o'clock on Big Fox, Nebraska at Minnesota. And Nebraska with only 1 loss. That's at home to Michigan. The Huskers a 7.5-point favorite on Big Fox at 8 o'clock. 10:30 tonight on the 4-letter network. Chapel Bill takes his talents to the Bay Area to take on Cal as 9.5-point dogs. Yeah. You want to go to sleep? Watch North Carolina's offense at about 11 o'clock at night. That'll put you to sleep.
You know, the first drive of the year, they looked good.
Right down the
It
field.
really ended right after that.
It sure did. Yep. When they do that documentary about Belichick at North Carolina, it'll be before and after that drive. Yep. Baseball. So you got the Dodgers at 8:30 on TBS. They can wrap things up and return to the World Series. 6 o'clock. Mark, you love your dinner sports. 6 o'clock on FS1, Game 5, J's and M's in Seattle. Is it the final home game of the year for the Mariners?
Yes, it is.
I say it isn't.
Oh, you think they're going to win tonight and then get one in Toronto?
I do.
Man,
Yes.
that would be great.
You know I
That
picked
would
the
be
Mariners.
great.
When the playoffs started, I picked the Mariners and the Phillies. Come on, guys. My reputation's on the line.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
This year during Thanksgiving week, Fort Myers takes the national stage, hosting not one but two elite women's college basketball tournaments, the Fort Myers Tip-Off and Coconut Hoops, both featuring Power 4 teams and nationally ranked programs. Few places in the country can showcase this level of talent. We're proud that Fort Myers is one of them. Don't miss your chance. For tickets, go to visitfortmyers.com/basketball. Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Let's talk the big differences between Floormeisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floormeisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floormeisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floormeister's prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floormeisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
Besides the sales experience at the Diamond District, we offer a litany of other services. Appraisals.
We have 2 GIA certified gemologists, full-time, servicing your needs with appraisals.
We buy gold, diamonds, gemstones, Rolex watches. Repairs.
We have 3 full-time master bench jewelers.
A beautiful custom design department so that we can give you one-of-a-kind jewelry. Come see Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
This is Miller and Moulton.